On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will lament the never-ending assault on the bank accounts of Star Wars figure collectors before talking about one of the greatest fan-made Star Wars weapons of all time. Matt will then break down the latest proper Star Wars comic in Star Wars number 7 2020, which featured some High Republic nods and a bit of Tarkin lore. The two will link back up for some Mando topics, including a breakdown of the mysterious egg canister that keeps popping up in new promotions, as well as the writers of each S2 episode. Finally, before the Fan Fest, the two will talk some Kenobi series news, which will lead them into the question of the week, featuring everyone's favorite Sith Master, and the top 5+1 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. Cue the music. Hey, there we are. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Star Wars Time Show. I have a feeling the tech's a little funky right now. Nick kind of blanked out on me while we were chatting as the intro was going, so hopefully I can still hear him. It looks like the stream is delayed in my preview, so who knows if you guys are even seeing anything, or if you're just seeing a bunch of little jumbled pixels going like blah, 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 blah. Either way, we're here and we're ready to talk Star Wars. But as we've been doing recently, at least since the COVID-19 lockdown period, we just been kind of shooting the shit to open the show, talking about a wide variety of topics, not just Star Wars-centric topics. If you're on the live stream, you see we have a Star Wars screen up right now. And yeah, we are going to talk a little Star Wars Squadrons multiplayer. But before we get there, because yeah, Nick and I, we actually followed up on our homework. We played some multiplayer, even though it was like pulling teeth for young Nick, but I did get him on the PS4. We did play some dogfights. We went through a fleet battle.
For like an hour. Like, I was surprised. Like, I looked at the time and I was like, oh, wow, we played for an hour. Not that it was like, oh, man, this was so fun that the hour flew by, but we played for an hour.
Yeah, so we'll get into that real quickly, but as we always do, we just kind of, catch up. What's been going on since the last time we sat around and powwowed with other Star Wars fans? And Nick, you know me, I tend to like to spend a lot of money on Star Wars collectibles in between shows. It's something that I'm trying to get better at. We have two new Star Wars figures to talk about, and I can tell you, I have not pre-ordered them yet, so I am growing. I am getting better at not just jumping on that pre-order wagon, hitting the button, adding it to cart, and committing myself to hundreds of dollars on Star Wars toys. But I did get some new ones. They came in. The PulseCon exclusives showed up this week.
Nice.
Doesn't mean I'll do anything with them. I'll probably just leave them in their boxes, but I do like to do some show and tell on the live stream. So I got this big one. The big ass Heroes of Endor set, right? That's the Paplu, Lukey Boy, and the Lovebirds, okay? That showed up. That's actually quite a nice package, Nick. I'm not going to lie. It's a nice... I even think the box you'll be able to use for some dioramas if you get into the toy pick game. In addition to that, my friend, I got my first 3 3/4 inch figures in probably about 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
I told you this was an impulse buy, a love for the clones, in particular the 501 boys. I had to get the set of the 501st Legion ARC Troopers, which is Fives, Jesse, and Echo.
Nice.
And they truly are. I mean, just even what Hasbro is doing with these little boys and girls, if you will, it's amazing. I mean, they are very, very tiny, like Matt Weenie tiny, okay? I can relate to the size of these figures very well, because that's about what I look like when I'm hard. But we'll see. We'll see what I can do with them. You can't really pose these guys too much. I mean, I don't even know if their arms bend, but I have been seeing other people out there like Papa. I think young Liam got in there and shot those little boys, so I'm going to take the challenge and do it next. But it's not over yet. people. You know me. You know how I spend the fucking money on this shit. Those of you that ordered the reprint of the Purge Troopers, those should be showing up, at least here in the States. This is the guy with the Electro Staff. Nick, I never got the standard Purge Trooper, so in hand, these guys do look kind of cool.
Yeah, remember? I mean, they were like the best. I don't want to say the best part of Jedi Fallen Order, because I think that the game was good. But they were like the coolest aesthetic, new aesthetic trooper that came from that game.
Yeah, so, totally. And I did end up ordering the Scout Trooper from that game too, because I mean, they put suspenders on it, Nick. So you got to have a Scout Trooper with suspenders if you already have a few Scout Troopers.
Did they give him like the little
I think
electro wand?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got his little fucking baton that he would beat you with as well.
Yeah, okay.
And then last but not least, this is non-Star Wars, but here, let me go get my bag of tricks here. I had to get the Logan and Professor X from the Logan movie.
I mean, come on, that movie was fantastic.
Yeah, I love Hugh Jackman. I mean, say what you will. I think one of my favorite Hugh Jackman movies is The Greatest Showman.
Dude, I remember when that came out, and you're like, man, Greatest Showman really got me.
Oh, I have never ever cried like that in a movie theater, and like. I'm not someone that really goes to musicals. It's not my scene. I don't do plays. I was just taking the wife, and we went like months after it opened. And just the whole time I'm sitting there like fucking crying. I mean, a lot of it is because it's a dad and he has two little girls. I have a little girl, and that kind of stuff came into play. But woo, like the stuff at the end and how he admits like he was a shithead dad and husband, and now he's gonna do the right. It just fucked me over. I don't know what that says about myself and how I treat my two women, but that movie definitely fucked me up. I love it, man. It's music, right? I mean, music to me. More so than anything, even imagery or pictures of my family. It's the music that can really get me leaky. All right.
Yeah. I mean, that triggers all of the emotion. That triggers like, this is how you should feel. This is what you should be feeling now. If John Williams didn't do Star Wars,
exactly,
I don't think Star Wars would be where it's at. It was his score that really sold all of the moments.
It would not. I mean, yeah, the pictures are neat and George's ideas are fantastic, but in terms of like the emotional connection, the bond I have to Star Wars, the Pavlov's dog's reaction to certain themes. We've talked about this. The Force theme in particular is a gut buster for me. Luke's theme, any of that type of shit. So, yeah, music's big. That's why Greatest Showman's up there. But I always liked Hugh as the Wolverine, and these are actually great looking figures. Plus, I'm gonna have a wheelchair. Maybe I can do something with that with Star Wars. I probably could if I was one of you imaginative toy photographers. But knowing me, I'll just stand him there nice and still and take a static image. So that's the new shit. The money keeps bleeding out. I did get Mando out for a photo shoot. Dropped one of those last night on the IG. Got decent reaction, but that figure, man, dude. Anyone that's purchased the Hot Toys Mandalorian has basically said the same things I've been thinking about it. I mean, if we could fuck it, we would fuck it. All right, that's how awesome it looks. That's how sexy he looks. It is just a damn good looking figure, and I think even my basic portrait shooting ass got a few decent shots with him. He's such a good looking figure, Nick. I think I want to do another shoot with him, which tends to go against my rules in my head with toy photography. You unbox a fig, you let it sit on the table for 6 months to a year so it's no longer new and no one gives a shit when you actually do take a picture of it. But when you do take a picture of it, it needs to go away. Okay, that's the process for me. But this one I'm keeping out because he is such a suave looking motherfucker.
I mean, Mando, it's like, even though we've seen that armor on multiple different characters, it's just the way that it pops on Mando's different. His accessories are way cooler than anybody else's. I mean, it's that Beskar shine.
I think you're right, man. I don't know what it is. And this is even the non-Beskar. I mean, he just has the pauldron in his helmet. But Nick is right. There's something about Din and the way he armored up that makes him look different than all the other Mandalorians. I mean, outside the armorer, who clearly has the most unique looking Mando helmet I've seen, and really just her getup in general is much different. But Din, you line him up next to a Death Watch, you line him up next to the Fets, and he stands out. I mean, even against the Heavy, who naturally stood out with that big fucking gun in his fat ass stomach. There's just something about the cape with the armor, the hodgepodge of colors on the armor. We're talking non-full Beskar. I don't know, man. He's a gem of a figure. I can't wait to see what he and the child are getting into come October 30, because the Haywood family has once again made another tour through Mando S1 this past weekend. We're on episode 8, but whenever we get the big screen outside, we want to do something big, not like the little cartoons and the princess stuff. So we did another rewatch of Mando.
Yeah, it makes sense. Mando's probably one of the Mando and Game of Thrones are probably the two best to watch on a big screen.
Hey,
I would say.
This guy showed up too, Cad Bane, the exclusive, and he looks great. So, one last thing, because of my Squadrons boner that I've had for almost 2 weeks now, for the virtual reality, I have to put that caveat in there so Nick doesn't try to laser beam my eyes out. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. You're lazy. You got the PSVR hooked up again to your beautiful PS4 Pro limited edition 20th anniversary PlayStation deal. Why not try another VR game you've been wanting to play? And so I took the initiative. I coughed up some bucks and downloaded Vader Immortal, which is it's $30 for the 3 episodes. Basically,
that's not bad.
It's $10 an episode, and I'd say the episodes clock in 45 to an hour. It's plenty value to me, considering a movie, is 14, 15, 16 bucks, and it's it. You see it once, and then you can't see it again until you buy it on digital. So. No problem spending that type of money. And honestly, it's fucking great. It's Star Wars. It's VR. It's Vader. You're holding a lightsaber.
Yeah, can't beat
it's
that.
Pretty fucking fun. I will tell you, though, that compared to how excellent the VR is in Squadrons, it was a little bit of a downgrade in terms of just the VR experience in general. My hands were always looking bent like this, like I had fucking lobster claws in game. I was getting some really wonky tracking when you're climbing up ladders and trying to pull yourselves over ledges. But I mean, the world looks great. Standing next there to Vader as my short little ass was something fucking neat. Like, Nick, I'm basically like looking at his nipples with my little lightsaber going like, wee, 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 wee. I'm cool, right, Vader? I'm cool, like me. But in terms of using the sword in the game and the Force, it does enough to trick your brain and kind of revert you down to, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old Matt. And you're sitting there. I could only imagine what I looked like to my family or anyone that came down when I was in the headset. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I'm standing up. I have to play this game standing. I've got the saber in one hand, the motion control in my other to use the Force, and I'm literally like, wah, 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 making noises with my mouth like, just looking like a complete slapdick. But I'm glad I finally checked it out. Got episode 3 to finish off the adventure. So, the Squadrons has been good not only to make me appreciate flying in a Star Wars starship, but also just to, kind of get back to that type of gaming and enjoy being immersed in this franchise that we love so much. So I had a pretty productive and expensive in between Star Wars time type of week, Nick.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I spent some money. Like, I bought Baldur's Gate 3, which is a PC RPG. So, like, if you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons, if you've ever played any of the old Baldur's Gate games, it is a very classic RPG, turn-based. You're really focused on your interactions with your characters and everything like that. So that's been sucking up a majority of my video game time. Like Matt mentioned, we played the multiplayer of Squadrons for a little bit yesterday.
You want to get into that now? The full.
It's like, look, I'll just say my piece on it, and because I've already given my opinion on the game last week, so I'll say how it went in my overall opinion.
Spoiler alert! He fucking hates it.
I played the multiplayer, and I really was hoping that, like, you know, with playing with another person, playing where you could communicate and stuff like that, that, you know, it would be more fun. And while it was a little bit more fun than the campaign, in my opinion, it's just not a game that's conducive to enjoyment for me. You know, it's, to me, the non-VR in this game feels clunky. It feels unfinished, unpolished. It's really just, you know, it's just not good. And you know, we had a, you know, semi conversation in our Discord last night, Tones saying that, oh, well, you didn't play the old games. I played the old games. I played X-Wing, I played TIE Fighter, I played X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, I played all of these, you know, other Star Wars Space Sim games. And this one is, you know, I just don't feel like it's that good. I feel like for $40, you're essentially paying for a nondescript campaign that's not worth playing. Just, you know, if nothing else, just to learn the moves in the game and to learn how the buttons work. That's the only reason the campaign exists. And it's a sole multiplayer experience. And my main issue with the game is that I'm almost convinced at this point, and we'll never know if this is true or not, that EA Motive, which was one of the primary developers of Battlefront 2, if you play Battlefront 2, you boot that game up, EA Motive is one of the first names that comes across the screen. EA Motive had designed this game, quote unquote, to be a expansion.
Yeah, this guy fucking hates this game. Do you hear it?
It's not good.
Do you hear it?
It's not good.
I mean, this is Nick angry, by the way. I know. I mean, it's a lot of you that you're not used to this type of behavior and emotion from Nick, and he still is pretty fucking level-headed. He was much angrier on our chat yesterday when we were actually playing the game. There's a little more fire under his ass, like the vitriol.
I mean, in the midst of it, you're definitely more angry. But I think this is what happened with Squadrons. Squadrons was being developed while
check this. This guy hates this game so much. He's coming up with conspiracy theories. Like
yeah, you're right. Squadrons was being developed while Battlefront 2 was still actively getting expansions. And we all know that Battlefront 2's content was all free after the debacle with their their loot boxes thing. So they're like, all right, all the content that you get in this game is free. And I really do think that Motive had built this to be a tack-on expansion to Battlefront 2, because if you look at the content that you get in it, you actually get less content in this game for $40 than you got free content from Battlefront 2 expansions, single Battlefront 2 expansions, not even all of them. So, I mean, that's I think what happened is that Motive developed this as a Battlefront 2 expansion, the final Battlefront 2 expansion, because players in that game had been begging for Galactic Starfighter mode, just like we had in old Battlefront 2. Another space flight sim that I really enjoyed. I played it more than I played the regular game. And EA was like, wait, why are we going to give this to them free when we can give it to them as a standalone game and charge them $40 for it? And that's what happened.
I love this.
We should have had this for free.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to buy fully into that conspiracy, but I will kind of throw out that I think this game was specifically developed for virtual reality. I think that's part of why it's rubbing Nick the wrong way.
That could be true. Yeah.
And here's the deal. I mean, I've played this game every day since I've owned it. It's a game, just because of the VR, it's an experience I like to feel every day. I beat the campaign before we were talking last week. So really, in between last show and this one, I've been dabbling in the multiplayer. I've been sucking at the multiplayer, but I'm still enjoying the game. Even playing with Nick yesterday, it is definitely much more fun to play with a wingman that you can actually talk to. because all the solo matches I've been playing, people, they still don't communicate. It's not like I'm going to offer up any strategy myself. If no one's fucking talking, I'm not talking either. I'm muting myself. That's just how it goes. You know, I'm 40. I'm not really looking to start a professional gaming clan right now. But I don't know. It's just the multiplayer to me, I'm still average to below average at online multiplayer in any genre at this point in my life. I don't think I'm ever going to get better unless I just dedicate hours and hours and hours of my time to these games. But with that being said, I still am enjoying the experience of virtually flying an X-Wing, a TIE Fighter, a Y-Wing, an A-Wing, an Interceptor, so on and so forth, trying to shoot down other live motherfuckers. Because, I mean, it's always more authentic, especially in a game like this, a somewhat space fighter sim, to be dogfighting with people that have organic brains. All right.
Yeah.
The AI itself, as Nick and I found out, it's no fucking joke either, because we got embarrassed in a fleet battle versus AI, which is a mode you can play with. What is it? 5 humans can take on 5 AI people in the fleet battles game mode, which, in my opinion, is actually quite an entertaining mode if you have the pieces, as in the players that are going to commit to playing it the right way. Because it's essentially a big game of tug of war, right? Where
it's like capital supremacy. Yeah, if you've ever played Battlefront 2, where like you push towards a certain point, if you get your goal, then you move on to the next stage, and then if the other team pushes back, they move back to move you back, right? And they can push towards you. It's exactly that concept, except it's in space.
Yeah, so I mean those matches can get fun, if not a bit repetitive, especially if you're just always playing against the computer. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying Nick is fucking out of line here. I mean, I only shit on other people's opinions when I know I'm 100% right. I have to tell you, when I took off my headset and played, the fun factor went down significantly. I'm still not going to, start conspiracy theories about it and feel like I was violated by the people at EA and whatnot. But hey, Nick he's allowed to have his opinion on it, and I can tell you it's authentic. He fucking hates this game. There was times when we were playing yesterday where I thought he just fucking quit and left the match. Like he just stopped talking because he's like, you hear him like, crashed again. It's like, all right, this kid's gonna go fucking postal here.
I mean, it's just like, here's another thing too. Like Matt was in the middle of a dogfight, and he's like, yeah, I'm looking behind me with the VR headset, and I can see, like, I can track the person behind me, so I know where they are. They added that feature in non-VR mode, but it's impossible to use. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, you essentially have to use the yoke, right?
You can't. So if you want to look around you can't move your ship because it's the same button.
So like I'm sitting there, so I'm having a fucking blast. Still, just a horrible KD ratio. I think the one match I might have got 5 kills, and I was still 3rd or 4th on a team of 8 or whatever. But it is, to me, it's 100% about that VR. It's a fucking thrill ride. And when you're in it and you're flying and you're competing, it's still very hard for me to not check a bunch of boxes that, little kid Matt had. Like, what would this be like to be flying around in space, getting shot at by TIEs or shooting at X-Wings, this, that, and the other thing? And it really does. I mean, outside of being in a hydraulic rig, to when I actually, turn my stick and it fully moves my whole body like that, I don't know how much more real this experience can get. So I'm still satisfied. But with that being said, I give this game maybe another week or 2, and it's probably going to rotate out of my daily or games to play throughout the week. I really want to finish the first Horizon before the 5 comes out. I doubt that's going to happen. But it's just, it's a game, and I'll be honest, man, the VR, it's physically exhausting. I'm not some lazy piece of shit, but I can tell you, you keep that thing on. between Immortal and Squadrons with Nick yesterday, I think I went almost 2 hours and I felt like my head was going to explode, like just melt. The shit is physically fatiguing. and
I just I don't think that it's worth, like, in my opinion, I don't think that either of those games is worth $200 for me. Like, if I had expendable income, then I think I would do it, but I'm not going to pay.
I'm with you. We got to remember. I mean, poor Nick. He's been unemployed now for months. I mean, I don't know what that is like. I hope I don't have to know what that's like, and I do understand. But I'm telling you right now, if Nick was working, I would be pushing him hard. The dude, just buy the fucking PSVR. I promise you, it is worth $200 if you are a hardcore Star Wars fan. But I get it. It's at this point, especially with the console flip coming, it ain't worth it unless you're rich as fuck. And even then, I'd contend if you're still not in VR, don't get in with the PSVR. It is, while it's probably the most affordable in VR, you pay for what you get mantra is pretty fucking true. So we'll see. I won't be playing any more multiplayer with Nick. Maybe some of you fandos and assholes, if you want. I'm F03_HAMM3R on PSN. Had to spell it out because even young Nick couldn't figure it out. He's like, yo, I sent an invite to this one. I'm like, well, that's not me, fuckhead.
I think, I don't know if you ever had a PlayStation account for EB, because it was literally the thing that you exactly said, except it was _E49.
Right. So, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Luckily, I could find Nick, because his is just Nick and a bunch of numbers. He's like Nick1138. So, we were able to get that across. But like I said, I'm probably going to be slapping it on again tonight. It's just, like I said, it's something, even if it's just one dogfight. I love the thrill of sitting in a Star Wars starship and zipping around my basement. So,
yeah.
It's not for everyone, but that's why we're humans, and that's why we have opinions, and one of these days we'll all understand that that's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Nick now because he doesn't like the game as much as I like it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Of course, what am I going to do? Tell Matt to not play the game that he's enjoying because I don't like it? I don't care.
Well, a lot of people live their life that way, especially over here.
It's really weird. I will say that after playing this game, I'm looking forward to better Star Wars games coming out. I'll put it this way, more robust.
He's looking for Fallen Order 2.
I'm looking for games that actually have substance to them, that give you something to dig your teeth into in Star Wars. And like you said, even though you're enjoying this game, it's got a week left for you, because there's really just not a lot of content there unless you like to play the multiplayer over and over again. Right. Which, out of Star Wars games, the multiplayers are fun and stuff like that, but Star Wars is about story expansion and giving you more universe to explore, and that just doesn't happen in this game. And maybe my expectations were too high for a $40 title. I still contend that it's not really worth $40. But, I would really like to see the license be taken in a way like it was before it was sold to EA, before EA got the license, where you had all of these rich story experiences happening in your games, and you're expanding your lore, and you're giving people more to enjoy, more characters to fall in love with.
Yeah, you know what we want? Yeah. We've said it 1,000 times. We want Star Wars Ghost of Tsushima. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I fucking want. Like that. The expansion's coming Friday, by the way, for that game, where literally for free, they're giving you a brand new co-op campaign, a brand new up to 4-player, what is it, a skirmish mode, tournament mode,
raid mode.
And a raid. I mean, essentially 3 new things on top of a new game plus that gives you new unlocks based on this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, that's more content than you got in Star Wars Squadrons.
Yeah, he's not lying. He is not.
And that's free.
he is not lying. So, I mean, I know a lot of people probably like, well, I feel you, Nick. I can't wait for Fallen Order 2. Well, no, Fallen Order 2 while a longer game and definitely $60 worth of content, I don't think people can tell me that was a deep, robust, and interesting Star Wars story. And the gameplay, in my opinion, is fucking garbage. So while I know we're definitely going to get another one because it made a shit ton of money, and that's pretty much a green light in game design and development to just keep fucking rubber stamping the shit. The gameplay was average at best. It was off the mark. It's the wrong genre for a Star Wars game. You don't do fucking Soulsborne combat when you're wielding a blade of light. This shit still pisses me off. Fuck that shit. And you know Fallen Order is going to be like 2, 3, 4, and it's all going to be the same fucking stupid shit with milquetoast, Kestis. Okay, all right. Anyways, there you go. To each their own. To each their own. We just got a pretty cool update in the chat, Nick, for us collectors out there. But a few weeks ago, we talked about the HasLab project. Yep. Where it's the Razor Crest in 1/18 scale, but like legit. I mean, this thing is $350. It's essentially going to be a museum piece. It's not going to be much different than if you rolled over to Lucasfilm, you went to their art department and said, "Hey, can I get the model of the Razor Crest you guys use to make the CG models?" Okay, thanks. We knew it was backed in record time.
Yes.
Its first bonus unlocked, achieved in record time. Its second bonus has been unlocked. That was going to be the little child and his, I'm just going to call it the bassinet that Kuiil makes him at the end. Well, they have now announced that the next unlock, that's right, people, Hasbro has seen so much action on this project. Again, this is Hasbro's internal Kickstarter, that they have announced the next unlock, and I'm assuming it's probably going to be at 10,000 backers or more. It is going to be all of the captured bounties in carbonite for the interior of the ship.
Okay.
All right, and that came from our boy Tones1138 in the chat. So I still have not plunked my money down on that. I am committed to do that one, though, Nick, even though it's not my scale. That thing, it's going to be a showpiece down here in the basement. But you got to like these unlocks, and they are. I think so far Hasbro has offered up some pretty enticing ones at that. All right.
Yeah. No, I really do think that adding in those 1/18 scale carbonite pieces, like the bounties, is going to be really cool for people like Kingdom of Weird and the 3 and 3/4
and you know
inch
they're gonna be
crowd.
They're gonna be just little 3-inchers. I mean, I don't know. It's wild. It's wild. So
yeah, no, I think it's a fucking awesome addition. So, and I think Drew Toy says the next one is now 13K. Like that's the next goal. So.
Okay, so I said 10. So next one's at 13,000. Drew. All right. So I guess while we're talking about toys, our actual topics, besides us just yentering around like two old ladies here, are more Star Wars toys. Yay! In true fashion, SWTS fashion, it never fails. We got reveals, I believe, Wednesday of last week of a new Death Watch Hot Toys Mandalorian figure. This is the first one. We also got a My Show to talk about. But Nick, I'll tell you what, man.
Yep.
I've showed restraint with last week's new reveals, which includes this Death Watch guy, which I'm not going to lie. I mean, it looks like a great Hot Toys.
I mean, it looks nice. Honestly, to me, it just looks like they've repainted Boba Fett.
Okay, thank you. Look, he's not even a collector. He's starting to pick up on these tactics that these toy makers get into.
This is just Boba Fett. It's blue Fett.
Okay,
that's all it is.
You're again.
Boba Fett.
I mean, Nick and I, we do have a Force connection. Even though I'm more dark side and he is light, we have a connection. Because I didn't even say that to him, but I believe Tones and I were bullshitting in our Discord last week about this guy, and I was like, you know what, man? Of course he looks great, but to me, it looks like they painted Boba Fett blue and then gave him Din's jumpsuit. Because Din has like that grayish purple jumpsuit on right now. I mean, I'm looking at my figure, and that's all it is. And so that is the main reason I have not hopped on this one yet, even though it technically is included in the full wave of the 1/6 scale Mandalorian figures, my friend. That gives me a little heartburn, but I just, as you said, I have a hard time getting up in all sorts of parts of my body for this Death Watch figure.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. Like here's what I say. It looks great. Like you're right, it looks great, but it's easy to make it look great because you already had the figure made. Like you didn't have to go out and do a new sculpt. You didn't have to go out and make new things for this. All you had to do was just paint it differently.
Yeah.
And I can see, like, having done this podcast with you for as long as we have, I'm finally starting to pick up on, even though I'm not a collector, on the toy collecting mindset. And I can see why frustration sets in so easily now as a buyer and as a collector. It's because, like, you're like, oh, wow. Like we're gonna release this new figure. It's so great. It's from the Mandalorian. It's gonna fit in with all the other figures. And then they come out and they show you this. They're like Death Watch Mando, and you're like, this is Blue Fett. This is
Blue Fett. Yeah, I like that, Nick. I like that. Blue Fett. We're running with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like it's the same fucking shit, right, man.
It is.
And look, like they didn't even take time to give him cool accessories. They literally gave him a 9mm pistol gun. Like it's not even, that looks like that you could give it to fucking RoboCop. Like, are you
yeah, man.
me?
I mean, at least Fett, he's got the Wookiee braids. He's got logos on his armor, different colored armor pieces, this, that, and the other thing. Obviously, Death Watch Blue is their thing. It is what it is. They're like a gang, but
yeah,
it really is just it's. I hate using the word basic for a $200+ figure, but it is. And Nick is 100%. And that's exactly what I thought. Is like, this is Blue Fett. All I could see was Fett when I saw these glamour shots. And I already have fucking 2 1/6 scale Fetts. So
it's like, here's what you do, Matt. You do yourself a favor. You save yourself a $250 and you learn how to figure paint on one of those 1/6 scales, and then you can just make them a Death Watch Mando, because all you need is some blue ass paint.
Fuck that shit, man. Arts and craft, that definitely isn't my thing. Like I was doing learning with my daughter today, doing cutting and gluing. And watching her cut and glue and just kind of draw stuff, I'm like, guys, she's like me. She has zero artistic ability. Like, I mean, there's no such thing as a straight line. I'm 40 and I still can't draw a straight line. So I can't really get into the dio making and the customizing outside of just kind of using my sausage hands to weather a stormtrooper, because it really just requires putting shoe polish on and not putting too much. Exactly. So yeah, everyone in the chat, they're trying to guilt me into buying it. They're all saying I'm going to back out, I'm going to puss out, I'm going to end up buying it in the end, but I don't know. I'm not feeling a pull to this at all. I haven't even pre-ordered the Clone Wars Maul and Coruscant Guard yet. Now, don't get crazy. I'm not saying I'm not going to order those. I go in spurts sometimes, Nick. Like it could get ugly. It could be one day I'll commit to spending $2,000 on toys, and then the next we're like, I don't feel like doing it yet. I'll wait. I have time. So Death Watch Boy, I like it. We're forever naming him Blue Fett from here on out. That was a good one there by Nick. Just not moving me. So moving on. This is another one I've actually been able to not just run out and buy right away. And this was kind of a surprise reveal last week, Nick. And this is the My Show movie realization, Ronin Mandalorian. And if you're on the live stream, we got some images pulled up right now.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I love this line. I believe I have every figure that has released so far for this line that you can actually buy. I still have yet to see the Samurai Akbar and the Samurai IG-11. I don't know if those are ever coming out. It's weird that we saw those, like they actually had them at a toy show, yet this guy comes out of the blue and you can pre-order them already. But it's Mando in his standard armor. He's not full Beskar. I mean, he's not even Beskar Pauldron. Obviously done in the Ronin / Samurai aesthetic that we've seen this line do. The line typically only touches on bounty hunters and bad guys. The only good guy to get it so far has been C-3PO, oddly enough.
Yeah, I remember Chaos Cuties got a top 5 with that.
Yeah,
figure.
but I don't know, Nick. I mean, I look at this Ronin Mando, and there's just something about him. I think Greggy Boy is the one that said, I mean, it looks like he ate too many fucking donuts or something.
His face is definitely, like, the first thing I noticed is that he, like, given his face sculpt, like the way that they made his helmet and the fact that they put like shit coming off the back of his head, his head looks like a predator. It looks like a predator head, which is kind of weird. But he does also look chunky. Like he literally has a fat pouch right in the front there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I've collected this line in totality. I even went back, when I couldn't get stuff because I missed it and was overpaying for them. But it's just like that Death Watch Mando we were talking about. I didn't feel that just initial gut pull to spend the 100, spend the 100, spend the 100. I'm not saying I'm completely out on this guy yet, but I am. Like I said, next week I have to get better at just fucking chilling out. When a new release comes out, a new figure, I got to stop just instantly committing to get it. I've actually started going back now and canceling some of my toys. Not Star Wars, Nick. Don't get fucking crazy here. But I ordered all the Back to the Future NECA stuff, which, I mean, they're going to look great. But just yesterday, I'm looking at my cart going, what? Why do you guys spend $100 on this shit? Yes, you like those movies, but do you really like it as much as Star Wars? Are you really going to feel the pull to go do a toy shoot with Marty McFly in the dock? You can barely fucking do toy shoots with your $250 Star Wars Barbies, bro. What are you doing? Calm down. Start to fucking put the governor on a little bit. So
yeah, I think that's a good move. I think that's a good move to go back and, we've all had those moments where we're drunk and we're out with friends, or we're drunk and we're at home, we're watching a movie and we order something on Amazon, and then the next day we look at it and we're like, what the fuck what did I do? Cancel. I don't need this. I think that that's healthy every now and then.
Yeah,
to just go back and reevaluate.
I mean, of course, these dickheads in the live stream chat are doing their best to, make me sound like an asshole. Like, oh, he's full of shit. He's gonna get it. Just get it. Just quit bullshitting us. I don't know. I'm also someone that if you tell me I can't do something, that's like, you might as well just made a bet with me. So have at it.
I mean, the thing is like, you can get it, though. It's not like this is something that's unattainable to you. But I do agree with you. I don't think that this is a great looking figure. I think that the Stormtrooper one is a fantastic looking figure. You've taken a lot of pictures of that one.
I mean, the best samurai figures are the Vaders, hands down, and probably the Maul. Like,
the Maul one is very awesome. Outside
of that, the Stormtroopers are mix and match. I mean, they probably all look the same. I will admit I love their nipples on their armor. But I don't know, man. Maybe this line has just worn off with me or something, because I have yet to even shoot the first order version of these. I mean, I got the Kylo, the Phasma, and a Trooper, and I think I've only shot the Trooper. I've got like cats or kids yelling behind me. What are you guys doing about that? Probably pissing on something. So, I don't know, friends. Talk all the shit you want, but so far I've not added this My Show movie realization Ronin Mando to the cart. He is still available for pre-order at Premium Bandai if you're into that type of stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling tones right now saying they don't appeal to him. They used to me, but this Mando one definitely does not.
And you would figure that right now would be prime time for you to have some sort of samurai figure come your way, because you were just so into Ghost.
No, I mean, honestly, Nick, I would rather see some glamour shots of the supposed 6-inch Jin Sakai that is supposed to come out. Like, I want to buy that. This one, as much as I love my man Double D, I don't know. It's like, I think the $2,000 I have coming in Mandalorian Hot Toys will probably be enough for season 1 tributes to this fucking character.
I think you're right. I think you need to save at least a little bit of money for season 2 variants once they come out, and I'm sure they're coming soon. So you won't have to wait too long. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I was a big fan of the My Show movie Realization Samurai line, and even that, like, I looked at it and I was like, that just doesn't.
All right,
it doesn't look good.
There you go. Saving money one toy at a time. All right, Nick, I'm going to let you run with this one because this one tickled your fancy. I'm more of like, ooh, a new toy, and I go goo for it. Nick is more into the science and actual lore of the Star Wars franchise. So
yeah,
these guys he's going to be talking about, they've been making homemade death sticks for years now. And by death sticks, I'm not talking about the shit that, Obi-Wan was trying to snort in Attack of the Clones. I'm talking about real life death sticks that sort of pass for real life lightsabers.
Yeah. So the team over at Hacksmith, which they're basically fabricators. Like, they make their YouTube channel is all about making props, making things on from different movies that are now real.
Yeah, they do cool shit, like functional shit, instead of just sit around and talk about fake shit.
Exactly. So, for example, other than Star Wars, they've done a lot of stuff. They made a photon repulsor, basically the Iron Man glove, where you could shoot a beam out of it. They made a Silver Surfer surfboard. They made trident. They made a trident for Neptune that actually shoots water out of it. So like they are very intelligent people that can make all of these real movie things come to life.
Hey Nick,
and they've been
do you know, like, did these guys at one point in time, I mean, are these guys like from MIT and shit like that? I mean, are these like...
I don't know the background on any of them.
Because I know there is like a famous YouTuber that was a legit NASA rocket scientist that has essentially stopped doing that type of shit because he makes millions on YouTube just doing cool gadgets. He's a guy, like, anyone listening, and Nick, you may even remember this. It might have been 2 Christmases ago. You know how people start stealing packages and whatnot from your door around holidays. Yeah. He made a thing, like a glitter bomb box that they would steal it. When they opened it, it would like shoot out fart smells and glitter, and he had a camera in it. He would actually record the thieves and all that type of shit. But that's what I'm kind of getting at. Like, do these guys, are they like real life genius scientists?
Yes. So
that just do this in their free time, or do you think at this point that
this is their full time?
Okay,
job.
They've gotten so popular that they just make crazy shit on YouTube now.
10 million subscribers on YouTube. So. And this video that we're going to go over has 12 million views on it. And what we're talking about here is the word. This is not, I'm not putting this as the title to be, over exaggerated or anything like that, to be hyperbolic. This is literally the world's first ever retractable plasma lightsaber. And they built it in their own shop. And they made a YouTube video on how they did it. So basically,
well, Nick, why didn't they just use fucking kyber crystals, man?
I know. I mean, this
did they not watch the Clone Wars?
On there are just like, why are you so stupid? Why didn't you just go to Ilum and get some kyber crystals and make it that way?
There's a bunch of jerk offs like me out there.
Yeah. So what these guys have done, and they've been building lightsabers for a long time, but generally, what their lightsaber builds were they would fabricate a hilt that would feed in power from a backpack that would just essentially superheat a piece of metal,
right?
Whether it be wrought iron,
it was like rebar or whatever they were using.
Exactly. This time, for the first time ever, they were able to concentrate real plasma, so propane mixed with oxygen, into a contiguous beam that ignites from a hilt. And that burns at over 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So basically, anything you put in front of that, it can cut through, it can melt, it can do anything. So the video that's embedded in the article on StarWarsTime.net is from their YouTube channel, and it's 18 minutes long. But if you're into fabrication, if you're into kind of the science behind, if you've ever seen the show, how they made it, or something like that. This is perfect for you because it shows you step by step how they did it and all of the pieces that they needed to do it and how they, put it together from step 0 to step 10 when it's finished. And what you see is just an incredible use of machine fabrication, of just chemical sciences and all of these different things that combine to make literally the closest thing that the world has right now to a real
have these guys killed anybody, severely hurt anybody, or burnt down their house yet?
I don't think that I think that somebody has gotten burned by these, but not in a way where they've lost any sort of appendages. So
I feel like the one guy here, at least on the thumbnail, I mean, he looks like a jacked Jesus Christ, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He kind of
does. I mean, that's Jesus Christ with biceps.
Yeah, like he's the main guy. So he,
or at least for Catholics, because we have a white Jesus, right?
That's true. Yeah. Everybody, I mean, like, really, Jesus is probably Middle Eastern.
Yeah, more than likely, considering he was born over there, I would think so. Yeah.
But he's the main guy. He used to be a full-time product engineer, and he decided to quit his job and do Hacksmith, the YouTube.
There you go, man. YouTube. It's a viable career opportunity these days.
Yeah. So his name's James Hobson, and over the years, like I believe he started Hacksmith and he was doing it part-time, but then it got so popular and people started requesting like, hey, can you make this? Can you make this? Can you make this? It kind of turned into his full-time job.
Turn it into Bicep Smith.
Yeah.
How this guy, like, I mean, this thing gets up to 4,000 degrees. How did he not melt his fucking beard and hair?
I think it's because, and again, like you can watch the video, but it's because they basically found this piece. The one thing that they were missing before in all of their other builds is they couldn't find something that could concentrate a superheated beam.
I would think like just the heat radiating out of that blade would almost be too much to hold it, but he's fucking holding it with a bare hand.
No, yeah, and you know, they use it too. Like in one of the videos that they're going to release soon, they cut through a steel door with this thing. And you know, you see at the end of this video too, like they put pieces of metal up against it and it just melts. It just goes down.
Well, you know what I mean though? Like theoretically, he's just standing there holding it by his face. Why isn't his face fucking melting right now?
I don't know.
Is the heat that concentrated to the cylinder there? Huh.
Yeah, it is. And they put a lot of fabrication work into the hilt. So that's like a functional hilt too. Like you click a button to turn it on, the beam comes out, you click a button to turn it off and the beam goes down. So like this is as close to a fully functioning lightsaber.
That's legit as fuck. I mean, that really is fucking fantastic. It just goes to show you how rad science is if you believe in it, which you should, and if you don't, go outside and ram your head into a wall. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the one thing that they always kind of throw out there in these videos is that technically they're making Proto Sabers, which if you are familiar with old Star Wars canon, a Proto Saber was the step backwards from a lightsaber, so it required a power pack, and all of their builds require a power pack because there is no piece of, you know, technology that exists now that would allow you to power a plasma saber directly from the hilt. So if you look in the featured image on StarWarsTime.net, you can see that he's wearing a backpack, and that backpack connects directly to the hilt. And
it's like the Ghostbusters, essentially, right?
Yeah, it's like a proton pack, kind of. And what's in there is all of the materials and all of the fuel needed to power it. So when he hits that button, it turns on all of the actuators and turns all of the valves in that backpack to send through. And it like they built a specialized valve control unit that sends just the right amount of oxygen and just the right amount of what is it called? Of gas to the hilt to ignite that saber exactly that way.
Dude, I mean, hopefully this never happens, but I feel like these guys are a video or two away from dying. It's like the shit they're making, like the shit on his back, I would imagine, if not 100% perfect, would just fucking blow him to pieces.
It could explode.
Right? I mean, he's essentially walking around with gas on his back, right? Like fucking propane.
It is. It's a propane tank. That's what it is. It's, you know, he was talking about, he's like, oh yeah, we have to find pressurized PCG gas. And he's like, But you can get that at any grocery store because all it is a propane tank.
Fucking A. All in the name of science and Star Wars. I love it. I mean, fucking A. Just, that is amazing.
Go give it a watch. They even found a way to change the color of the beam as well. So they made it red. They made it orange. They made it yellow. They made it green. Like they have figured out everything that they needed to make the world's first actual Proto Saber / lightsabers. I mean, they're a fantastic follow anyway. Like if you're just into the geek space and you like Marvel, Star Wars, or any of this other stuff, like they do bone claw builds from fucking, Wolverine movies. Yeah. They do the Iron Man gauntlet. They do, wrist fire flame.
So they're like Nick, do you remember the Man at Arms YouTube channel? They would do the same thing but with like actual like blades and
forging blades.
So these guys they're kind of doing that but for sci-fi type of shit. So I mean really even just the hilt here, it looks like a steampunk saber.
That is exactly what he said. That the guy, their hilt fabricator was like, I wanted to make a steampunk lightsaber hilt, and that's what he did.
I mean even that hilt is just badass looking. So yeah, good dudes. 18 minutes is a little too long for my little pea brain, bird brain, whatever you want to call it. But I scrubbed through and at least looked at the fun stuff. Before we move on, I do want to bring up another, obviously not scientific video, but I think we passed it around our Discord this past week. Someone's out there doing, I guess you call it a meme video or whatever, but he's doing, the MCU versus 2020 or Star Wars telling the year 2020. And that's the one I'm talking about here. But look that up on YouTube. I think it dropped a week or two ago. It's in our Discord if you're in there, but it's fucking hilarious. It just takes various Star Wars moments and scenes and some guy like just half-ass dubs like text in to explain like, oh, this is when Kenobi died, or oh, this is the rest of the world watching America essentially kill itself. And that came at the end when Anakin is burning and Obi-Wan, he represents the rest of the world. Anakin obviously is the United States. Yeah. It's a fucking hilarious video. Like it's not just all political, so don't think it's that. I mean, it's the virus. It was Kobe's death. It's basically all the bullshit that's happened in 2020 as told through Star Wars. So there's your web gem tip of the week.
Yeah, definitely. Both of those videos worth a watch. And if you want to build your own lightsaber, go watch this and see if you can put together one based off of what they did. I will say that they said they needed to buy like a $50,000 machine at one point. Yeah, just to build it.
This isn't just for an upstart YouTuber. I mean, these guys are now being able to make this more advanced stuff, I'd imagine, Nick, because they are making millions. From YouTube. I would assume they're YouTube millionaires if that's their full-time jobs these days.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I don't know if the formula still computes, but in the past it was like for every million views, it's basically $1,000 in revenue to the YouTuber.
Wow, man, that seems so little.
It's 100,000 or 1 million, but I do think it is 1 million.
Yeah, I mean, this video got 12 million views on it. So by that logic, they got $12,000 off of this video, which, I mean, I don't know if that's the fucking breakdown, then man, maybe it isn't.
Well, hey, dude, in the end, I can tell you YouTube has the better end of the deals. So don't quote me on it. It's either 100,000 equals 1,000 or 1 million equals 1,000. That's the ratio. That's what it used to be. But just, I mean, if you talk to any legit YouTube creator, like, yeah, I mean, we're fucked. Yeah, YouTube still has us by the balls. For the most part, they still get a good chunk of that revenue. That's why you'll see a lot of popular YouTube channels cutting their own ads now.
Yeah, like they had ads in theirs as well for like they had ads in for like some of the parts that they use. Like
exactly.
They manufacture some of the parts.
I mean, these guys are huge if they're cutting their own ads at this point. I mean, they have advertisers coming to them and saying, "We'll pay you to do this for 30 seconds in your video."
Yeah.
So exactly. Friends, that's where we need to get Star Wars Time Show too, right? We got to get this kid a meal, and he's been eating fucking McDonald's and ramen noodles for the past 4 months.
Ramen noodles are good, man.
They actually are really good. Oh, dude, you know what I've been fucking loving, and I really hope it hasn't already been discontinued because it's probably gross to most people? Cheetos mac and cheese.
I've never had
dude. I think they only carried at Walmart, which says enough about the product, right? I mean,
yeah.
But there's a jalapeno flavor, there's their flaming hot flavor, and then there's just their standard cheddar flavor. Some of the greatest cancer-causing processed food I've ever had.
Okay.
It's so fucking good, dude. I've only been able to get them online through Walmart. I think Walmart is the only retailer that carries Cheetos mac and cheese, but
it wouldn't surprise me.
It's worth trying out. If you really want to get fucking gross, put some like flamin' fries on it or other Cheetos products. Woo-wee! And this is stuff I'm doing just in the middle of the day. This isn't like late at night after I've had a puff or two. So It's just good eating. If you don't care about your body, obviously.
Yeah, if you're ready to die.
Yeah, just eat a lot of fiber, because I really don't think anything in that Cheetos mac and cheese is real, like from this planet. I think everything is made in the lab, and you just eat it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Nick. So, kind of getting out the toy talk here. Hey there, 1/6 shooter showed up. He is the I think he's the plus oneer, isn't he? So welcome.
The top oneer of the week.
Yes, Trevor, you missed the start of the show, but I'm not going to say you really missed much, because I think we just rambled on, fumbled on. Nick shit all over Squadrons, and I still like it. And we shit on some Star Wars toys that I'd imagine you would have shit on too. But let's get into the comics, right? We got Star Wars number 7 2020 release last week, Nick. This week, we're getting a new Vader, so if you're into my comic breakdowns, be on the lookout. Our buddy Greg is supporting us on those. Bossa Jan has been getting on there, leaving comments on the comic videos. I think Tones is doing it. You know the drill. I'm not fucking around, people. Watching our shit, liking our shit, commenting is everything. It's what helps YouTube to be like, oh, these aren't just two dickwads that sit in their basements and do a stupid show. People actually interact with this dumb shit, so we'll start sharing it and showing it to other people searching for Star Wars. But back to the comics. So last week was Star Wars number 7 2020. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, Nick, this is a transition issue. We completed a narrative or a complete story in issue 6, as where, Luke gets his yellow lightsaber, ends up back with the Rebel fleet. Mm-hmm. Number 7, it's clearly kicking off an entire new thread. I think the main narrative is going to be Princess Leia versus this Captain Zara character. So this issue, it served as an introduction to this captain. This is essentially, I'll just get into it. Vader called this captain Tarkin's foundling. So,
wow.
Tarkin found this orphan and kind of trained her in his philosophies. We got to see how she became kind of the apple of his eye when she goes and murders 2 other cadets during a training exercise that he arranges for them all. Let's just say she's very Tarkin-esque. Soulless, brutal. He loves her. So this issue, in terms of like the canon and added to the franchise, it was minimal. But there was an interesting tie-in to some new Star Wars material that's coming up, and it had a bunch of Easter eggs, like some pretty interesting Easter eggs here. Lots of Rogue One Easter eggs, because we did get some flashbacks with Tarkin. We get mentions of Galen Erso and how he betrayed the Empire. And let's just put it this way. Zara's got beef over the rebels killing Tarkin on the Death Star.
Yeah, right? Given how she was basically his apprentice, I could see that.
Yeah, so she's pissed. She blames it all on Leia, because she knows Leia was involved at the Battle of Scarif, getting the plans, this, that, and the other thing. So she's got a huge grudge for Princess Leia. So this issue it's setting all that up. It's showing us why, who is this character? Why does she hate Princess Leia so much? So I'm not going to lie, it was kind of a blah, blah type of issue. The another egg we actually see Krennic, and we get to see Tarkin again, just belittling him, berating him in front of the other governors. So that relationship was always contentious.
Yes.
We got to see Tarkin's favorite way to torture rebels, right? His young lieutenant at the time, or captain at the time, Zara, was in there with the little torture droid and the actual table we see in Empire Strikes Back with all the needles on it. So that was another egg we got. I'm just trying to scan through my readings here because I don't watch the videos.
I think there's the Nile is a big. Well,
that's what I was going to say. That was the biggest canon edition. So as Nick said, if you're not familiar, the Nihil, the Nihil, these are going to be the big bads in the High Republic novels.
Correct.
They were such a formidable gang that they gave the Jedi and the galaxy at that time a lot of headaches. So in the current period here, at least during one of these flashbacks, we hear Tarkin sending Zara on a mission, and he's sending her on a mission because this dude, I don't know if he's like some crime lord or whatever, but he's starting to spout off and pop off some nihilistic teachings, sayings. It's almost like he's trying to revitalize their way of fucking with the galaxy. And if you know anything about the Empire, all they want, in quotes, if you're watching on the stream, is peace and tranquility, right, Nick?
Yeah, and that's not going to happen if you have a gang of bad guys.
I mean, Tarkin, you could tell he I'm not going to say he feared the Nihil, but he knew what they did during the High Republic era, and he wanted nothing of the sort for his empire. Okay. So he kind of sends her off to go fuck them up. She fucks it all up, falls out of favor with them. And this is where the next canon bit comes in. And it's the fact that during the Battle of Yavin, the Empire really did have a shuttle prepped, ready to go, just in case those rascally rebels were able to exploit that little flaw that they now realize existed in the Death Star. And there's even a scene in the movie, right, where Homeboy comes up. He's like, should we prep a ship?
In our moment of triumph?
Exactly.
You overestimate their chances.
But here's the interesting thing about it. So they actually had the ship ready to go in the hangar, but let's say Tarkin did decide, he's like, you know what, fuck it, this isn't looking too good.
Yeah,
he wouldn't be able to get on the ship because Zara stole it to try and get back in Tarkin's good graces, obviously not knowing that within the next few minutes, Red 5, with the help of Han Solo, was going to blow the fucking Death Star to smithereens.
And now he's just little vapor bits in the galaxy.
Right. So I thought, I mean, while it wasn't like earth-shattering type of news for Star Wars canon, even those just little knick-knacky additions to lore, Nick, are what I appreciate about these comics. Just knowing, there was a shuttle, but even if he did take it, his own fucking commander would have screwed him because she was trying to make him happy.
It shows you the hubris, too, of the Empire and of the Imperial officers. Because, at that point, they knew that the rebels knew about the exhaust port. So it wasn't like originally before Rogue One where we thought they didn't know about it. It was a surprise, holy shit. We thought in the initial moment, Tarkin was like, what the fuck are they going to do? There's nothing wrong with this Death Star. There's no fucking way that they blow it up. We knew that rebel spies had gotten the plans, but we didn't know that the Empire knew that they had it.
Well, they didn't know. Remember, they do eventually figure out. They're like, yo, we've analyzed their attack.
Yeah, and there is a slight
They could
chance.
Definitely do something pretty bad. So, but he was still like, no, there's no fucking way. And do you blame him?
Hubris.
I mean, think about the Battle of Yavin, Nick. 0 capital ships.
Yeah.
0 Corellian corvettes. It was a bunch of starfighters. That's it. It was X-Wings and some Y-Wings. That's it.
Yeah.
What, 5 X-Wings and 4 or 5 Y-Wings? So, of course, the Empire's probably sitting there like, oh, yeah, we've analyzed it. There's that exhaust port that Urso fucked up, but no way. There's no fucking way.
You know that it wasn't, destined for success when the Emperor himself was not there. If the Emperor is like, you know what, I'll sit this one out, guys. You should probably take a hint and get the next shuttle off that motherfucker.
So, I mean, in the end, Star Wars number 7, 2020, it wasn't the most exciting issue I've read in this run, but I kind of expected that because it's setting up a whole new thread, which is going to be Leia versus Zara, and we need to learn, like, why does Zara hate fucking Leia so much? And it's because of the Death Star getting blown up and her hearing or knowing that Princess Leia had a hand in securing those plans to foil that big ass Star of Death. I'm expecting things to kind of heat up in the next issue. This one ends at a great little cliffhanger where Leia has kind of maneuvered, at least in a tactician type of mindset, Zara. So we'll see where things go. But like I said, this week, stay tuned to the Star Wars Time Show YouTube channel because the new Vader issue is coming out, which I believe is also going to be starting a new thread. So the two of you that watch those videos, make sure to check that one out because I will be doing it probably Thursday. Nice. All right, Blue Buffet. I love Blue. I'm seeing Blue Buffet. It's coming up in the live chat here. Everyone.
That's it, because Trevor was saying, I hope that you didn't make fun of the SHF Mando, and I was like, you mean Blue Buffet?
Yeah, I'm guessing he's probably talking about he did an excellent shot of the full Beskar, SHF Mando, and Child that a lot of people thought was 1/6 scale. That's how good it was. I mean, he had a great close crop on it. Obviously, he always lights things perfectly and stages things expertly to really make it, look and feel like a real living, breathing character.
That's why he's the pro here.
Yeah.
But no, I was not.
No, we're not.
Blue Buffet is the Death Watch Mando, 1/6 scale.
Exactly.
So.
That's Nick coined that term and we're running with it. From now on, all Death Watch will be known as Blue Buffets. All right. So speaking of Mando, and there's my shitty transition, but I've done it all cast long this episode, so who really cares? And obviously, this topic, not much to really spend time on, but it's going to get us into our Mando talk. Plus, Nick has a little tangent he wants to send us on before we get into our TV spot breakdown. But we did get some new TV posters, and I wouldn't say they reveal much of anything. I mean, obviously, it makes Din look like a badass, but we knew that. Yep. The child, he looks adorable, but he also looks like he could fucking rip out your throat if he wanted to, right?
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at that little head tilt. He's sitting there like that. That's like a tilt. Like, I could fuck you up. You know that, right?
Yeah. That's like that, like the head tilt that, like,
you want to go? Like you want to fucking do this type of shit. So I love that guy. I can't wait to see him again. I think I'm more interested to see what this fucker's getting into versus Mando himself. We got, Cara. Looks like they're going to do her hair differently. I guess they changed something on her, but she's still whipping the same armor as we've discussed. And it doesn't look like she's hating on any groups or cultures in this poster shot. So that's good. And then we got Grief Karga, also known as a Star Wars Time Show fan handle, Grief Cardboard.
Yes, Grief Cardboard.
I'm never going to forget that fucking handle. I was like, even when I was uploading the shot, I'm like, Grief Cardboard. He's my favorite bounty hunter lord. But yeah, so posters look nice, but they're just posters. I mean, really, what can you do? Unless they dropped like, oh, hey, look, there's Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano, Timothy Oliphant as Cobb Vanth. It's like, neat. We're going to put them out there. It's something to talk about, but that's about it. But this is the launch board for my friend here who is still following this Rahul Cooley thing where he is continuing to troll Star Wars fans about live action Ezra Bridger.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they should just put out a live action Ezra poster. They should have just revealed the Ezra to be in the show along with these 4 posters. Because if you're following Rahul Kohli on Twitter, which you should be, because I am now, and if I follow them, you have to follow them. That's just how it works in Star Wars Time community. He put out another...
I'm on his feed right now, Nick, and he has a post, and he says, I'm here to talk to you about herpes.
Yeah, I mean he's just a funny guy. He is a funny follow. He did also have a new Netflix series just dropped, the Haunting of Bly Manor.
So yeah, I think this is why he's doing all this. But hey, it just goes to show you he knows how to fucking work the social media game.
He does. So one of his recent tweets came out. It was actually 2 days ago. And this is how it reads. And I think Matt may have it up on the screen.
I just found it right here.
So he says, I'm currently alone filming a new show and couldn't celebrate the release of Bly Manor with my friends, family, or the Bly cast. So I've treated myself to 1 can of Coke. Thank you all so much for watching. Your tweets have made me smile. Cheers. And in the picture below, you see him, yes, holding a can of Coke. But he's also wearing a Lucasfilm shirt, long sleeve shirt. And in the background, perfectly nestled behind his hand, is an open picture of Ezra Bridger from Star Wars Rebels, just sitting there nicely in the background. And I mean, we've talked about it.
Holy shit, Nick! I pulled it up on Twitter. Your reply is featured. Like you're the first guy.
Oh, I am. It might be because you follow me.
Well, I drilled into his tweet here. You know, clicked on the image and it brings up his tweet and then replies to it. And you're right there. Nick Caminiti, look at him. Yeah. Here's Nick. I'm going to be upset if all these cheeky Ezra hints don't turn out to be true. Angry, angry face.
But it's like this guy has, I mean, in my opinion, there's no reason to put out this many things teasing at this Ezra if it's not real. Like, I understand it for like the one day you put out like 3 in a row and you're like hitting at like, oh, I'm going to play Ezra. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. Here's my apology video. Publicist, please take over. Wink, wink. Like, you don't put out stuff like this often if it's not real. So I'm almost like, given this tweet and the previous ones and everything else, saying that he's, you know, like, I am almost ready to commit to like take it to the bank. Ezra is going to be either in season 2 or season 3 of Mando, because I don't know if this new show that he's filming, I don't know if they're starting to film season 3 of Mando or what is going on there. But if that's the case, then, you know, it's very possible that he may not be in this one, but the next one. But Ezra, I feel like this guy is fucking Ezra.
Dude, I'm doing some sleuthing here, but I'm just looking if you can buy a Lucasfilm sweatshirt, and I'm not.
Oh, like with the actual Lucasfilm, like he's wearing,
right? And I've so far have not found any that just have the Lucasfilm limited on it. There's none that even say Lucasfilm. The only ones that do are like from Etsy and eBay. So you know, that means people are fucking making their own. So, I mean, again,
how do you get that?
I still think this guy is just masterfully marketing his other show that's out, and from what I've heard, it's not as good as the other Haunting that came out a year ago. I'm not really into that. I like scary movies and shit. For some reason, I just don't watch the series and whatnot. But I just did a half-assed lazy man search for a Lucasfilm sweatshirt. Nothing on the first page of Google, so that pretty much means it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So that's somewhat telling.
And I mean, he's not been associated with any other Star Wars work in the past, so it's not like he played a voice in Clone Wars or like a background voice in Clone Wars and they gave him one. He's never been associated with Star Wars in the past, so there's no way for him to get that. Like there's not even anything tangentially close to Star Wars or Lucasfilm that he's been involved in that he could have gotten one of those things, unless it was at like a con or he knows somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going, man. I'm looking. I'm on Amazon. Nothing. I mean, you put in Lucasfilm, obviously, just brings up all the other licensed shit you can buy, like Star Wars shirts. So I think that to me is one of the bigger tells. I mean, obviously he does the very clear trolling with Ezra in the background, but I mean, you could look at it as like, all right, he's an actor. He's watching this character. He's trying to get his nuances, the cadence down, this, that, and the other thing. But you notice he also says he's filming a new show, which, as we talked in the past, we weren't too keen on if we are going to do a live action Ezra, just jamming him into the Mando. We need to know, okay, how the fuck did this guy get back from wherever the hell he was at in the unknown? So new show, maybe it is the fucking Thrawn and Ezra show. It'll be like a buddy cop show. Either way, the guy is either hustling his ass off to promote Bly Manor like a pimp, or he's doing a long troll on us, and I'm enjoying it. I'm not getting angry about it because it gives us fucking shit to speculate and make up.
Yeah, and look, we all know that Ezra would work perfectly in live action. We just need to know how he's going to get there. Is it going to be through Mando? Is it going to be in his own show? So, I mean, I don't know. I'm convinced that this guy is Ezra. I'm convinced that he is. I think he's done his job in convincing me that he is. I just don't know what he's in as Ezra. I don't know if it is Mando season 2.
I'm with you, man.
Something else.
I mean, very compelling trolling he's done. The only thing I'd say is that knowing how Lucasfilm and Disney are with this property and how all the other actors have pretty much not done this, that's another big glaring thing of like, okay, this could be an elaborate troll, because let's be real. None of the other live action actors have even tried to troll this way. We could say Esposito has given us the most, but he still does it in a way that he doesn't really confirm or tell us anything, but he tells us a lot. And I'd say Giancarlo has probably been the most leaky in terms of revealing but not revealing stuff about the show. So that's the other thing, where he's doing everything so well to convince us, but knowing the business, knowing what he could suffer by doing this type of stuff, you got to take that into account too, just based on how the other actors have handled the Lucasfilm dreaded NDA.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, it could just be like this elaborate troll, but man, I just like, at what lengths do you go to just for a troll? Like, when do you just be like, I think I've done enough? Yeah,
I mean, let's be real. I'm a narcissist. I'd love to throw up a tweet and actually get people to engage with it. I mean, this could be this guy's, look, 2:22 a.m. I mean, this could be just something for him to fucking do at night.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need the followers. He's got over 200,000 followers, and like before any of this even started. So it's not like he was out there he's a struggling actor trying to wrangle in attention to himself. It seems like this. I mean, he's, like you said last time, he's a Star Wars fan. He clearly is trying to, either, if he's not Ezra, then he's trying to push himself into that like contention for the role. Maybe even make, Favreau look at it and say like, hey, maybe this guy could play Ezra or something like that.
Sure, maybe he's lobbying, but at this point, if he's not Ezra, hey, Kathy, John, Dave, whoever's doing the hiring over there, sign him up.
Yeah, give him a look. Give him a look, because I think that there's some substance.
He's dedicated, if anything else. Like, if he's going to this lengths just to fuck with people on social media, he is dedicated to the cause. So thanks for bringing that up, Nick. That was a good one there. Like I said, I'm all for it, but I do think he can't just surprise show up in Mando unless they dedicate an entire episode giving us a flashback to explain how the fuck he got back here. So... all right.
I agree.
So other Mando stuff, and this is actually legit here. We got the season 2 writers, and the only reason I asked Nick to put this up is just I thought it was fucking funny. I was honestly, when I saw the title, Nick, I was expecting to see quite a mix of writers, but if you pull it up here, it's essentially Jon Favreau does them all but 2.
Yeah, exactly. So everything except episode 5 and episode 7 are Favreau. Episode 5 is Filoni. Episode 7 is Rick Famuyiwa, who's the guy who did the prison episode, the prison ship episode. So he's writing episode 7. Everything else is Johnny Boy. So to me, this says that John has a complete stranglehold on. I mean, stranglehold is oftentimes used negatively.
And Nick, I believe he wrote most of the first seasons too. I guess we just never really looked at the credits. I mean, I think Taika got a credit, Filoni got a credit, and again, I think Rick and maybe Deborah contributed a little bit, but I do think in the end, this is John's creation. Filoni, I believe, has made it much more authentic, but John's the one that pitched this concept. It was not Dave. Like, John brought this idea to Lucasfilm, sold it, and then they gave him the team to flesh it out. Yeah. So I'm not really surprised it's all Favreau.
Season 1 was the same situation. Okay. It was all John except 2 episodes. 105 was Dave. So episode 5 of season 1 was Dave.
And that was the one with the Boba Fett tease, or possibly the Fett tease at the end.
Yes. And then 6 was Christopher Yost and Rick Famuyiwa. So Famuyiwa also wrote one in that one as well. So
all right. So a lot of people here in the chat, and I saw this last week, but Tones right away is like, episode 5, that's the Ahsoka episode, because that Filoni wrote it. Yeah, I mean, on paper, sure. It would make sense. That's his creation. That's probably outside the Clone Wars franchise, that's his Luke, Han, and Leia. Like, I mean, that's his most major contribution to Star Wars lore. He created a now iconic character, one that people I got to remind most of you, fucking hated when she first came on the scene, but now, she's a loved character. But yeah, I mean, I would think the Filoni episode, just like his episode in the first one, even the one he directed, it's going to be the most fan-oriented, tongue-in-cheek, Easter eggy type of shit.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Because I think he tries to do that. Like, he wants to put in as much fan service as possible without disrupting the storytelling. And I remember when you did the Easter egg breakdown for the episodes that Filoni directed, you were like, well, there's so many Easter eggs that I couldn't call them all out, but like, here are the big ones. Like, here are the ones that are of significant consequence.
Right.
So I think they're right. I think if there's going to be a mention, or like if Ahsoka's coming in, or if there's a mention of Ezra, or if Ezra comes in, then it's got to be in episode 5.
Right.
Because I think that John would give that to Dave.
Of course.
John would say, like, hey, if these characters are coming in, you need to do this. This isn't something for 100%.
I mean, while Favreau's a pimp and he came up with all this shit, I mean, he's the one that cooked up the baby and this, that, and the other thing. He knows who Dave is. I mean, just go watch that Mandalorian S1 behind the scenes documentary. The first episode is essentially an homage to Dave Filoni and how he is the second coming of George Lucas. So Nick's 100% right. I mean, while Favreau sets the overall vision and tone, and probably even said, hey, Dave, these are the confines you have to work in, but he's going, all right, if we're going to start bringing some of your creations into the real world, you need to handle it. So have at it.
Exactly. So again, not really too much of a reveal here. Like, the writers were revealed, but the writers are basically all the same ones from season 1. I'm looking forward to it. I really do think that John is now the lore master for season 2, and then Dave is more treated as like the story, like Dave is the story group of
you're 100% right. I think Favreau probably comes up with the grand ideas in the broad strokes, and then runs it by Dave. Like, is this legal?
Yeah, can we do? Is this? That's a good way to put it. Is this Star Wars legal?
Is this Star Wars correct, my friend? And Dave's like, yep, I give it my blessing. George would do it that way, but no, this is what they would say. That's more of how George. So yeah, I mean,
and I think that's why George. I'm pretty sure George has come out and said that his favorite piece of content from new canon is The Mandalorian, and it's because Filoni is there as the guide, essentially the Jedi master.
Yeah, you have to think that George, while to me he has always seemed like an emotionless husk of a human, he has less emotions than I do, and I'm pretty bad. Like, I'm a fucking rock for the most part. Like, I even now, as I've grown and tried to let them out more as a man, I still get the tear chokes, where you're essentially making yourself feel way more uncomfortable than if you just let the shit flow.
Yeah.
But I think Dave to George is like his son. his
Yeah.
Star Wars son. Yeah, he's got adopted sons, Jet, this, that, and the other thing. But Dave is the other person in the world that 100% got what George was saying. If you listen to Dave talk about their first meeting, their interview was essentially George just talking Star Wars to him and seeing if Dave could handle it. And just the way George treated their relationship. I mean, George now, I'd imagine, is a proud dad watching his son grow up from being an animator only into a full-fledged storyteller in the live action space that George loved himself so much. So,
oh, absolutely. And you know, the bond that these two have, you know that Dave talks to George probably weekly, if not just
I would think
daily.
I would think
exchanges.
They check in a couple times a month at minimum for sure.
Yeah. And I imagine that Dave tries to not skew the conversation towards like, hey, this is what we're doing now in Star Wars. And, because I really do feel like there's still pain there for George.
Yeah.
And we saw it like the most, I agree with you that George is generally an emotionless kind of person, but the most emotion I feel like we've ever seen from George, even though it was a small amount, was Celebration 2017 or 2016, where they did the reveal of the TLJ trailer, right? Was that 2016 or 17? I can't remember.
I don't know. I just realized that my Audacity froze, so my my audio has not been recording this whole time.
Great. So we're gonna have the audio only people. You're gonna have a little bit of a weird stem here.
It's gonna suck. No, I mean, at this point, I'm gonna have to
extract it from the YouTube video.
Yeah, it just don't even bother sending me yours because it's fucked.
Okay. So, some live troubleshooting. But what I was gonna say, there was that panel where George came in, he sat down, he kind of gave his, his, not really his life story, but his Star Wars life story. And he was talking about the reception of the prequels and how that really affected him. And we never heard George talk about that before. We always heard George say like, well, that's a story and that's what it is. People can think whatever they want to think. And this is a story for kids and blah, blah, blah. And kind of giving you all of the lines that he always gave you. But in that interview, he did finally admit that like that hurt and that caused him to pull back and that caused him to kind of rethink his approach to everything in terms of Star Wars. And that's not necessarily what led him to make Clone Wars or anything like that, because Clone Wars was already planned, but that led him to not pursue further films immediately, because in reality he was ready to go with 7, 8, and 9 like there. Like he was, if 1, 2, and 3 went really well and critically acclaimed and all the people loved it, he could have probably cracked out 7, 8, and 9 in short order. But because of the way that everybody backlashed against him, he pulled back. And that was the first time you ever really heard any sort of emotion come out of George Lucas in terms of his Star Wars life.
Yeah.
And I know that it's still hard for him, especially this. I think that this is the hardest thing for him is seeing Mando, because I feel like the fact that he likes it means that he wants to be involved. Like he wants to be in there and he wants to play around.
There's that too, but I think honestly, Nick, I bet they talk about the technology. I think that's probably what gets George off the most these days, is because this is all stuff we talk about in past episodes, where what they're doing now and the volume, that was his idea. The tech just wasn't there to do it. And we've heard it. Dave's even said, he's like, oh, he's always asking me, hey, Dave, how many setups did you shoot today? Did you get enough setups? How many setups did you shoot? Did you do this? You got to do this way. You should have got more setups in. So I don't know if they're talking story that much, because I think, like Nick said, that might be a little too close to home for George. But I could definitely see them talking about the art form. Yeah.
You know what I would like to see, man? I really want to see George do it again. Not Star Wars. I mean, I would like to see him come back. But George's a billionaire. And I know that he's old and, I don't know how old he is exactly. Let me look it up real quick. And I know that, he's got more years behind them than in front of him. But I want to see George create again. because he's 76. He was born in 1944. Net worth. You want to know what his net worth is? Guess, Matt.
Well, it depends if he's spent those 4 bills yet. I'd say 4.5. 5 billion.
5.6 billion, according to Forbes in 2020.
Jesus.
So, the motherfucker is rich. But I want to see him create again. And what I mean by that is I want to see him do what he did with Star Wars. If there's anything left in his brain in terms of creative juices or another story he wants to tell, he has the money. That's not even a question. He could take $500 million and just say, I'm dedicating this $500 million to realizing my new vision. And I want to see him take an idea from his head out onto the screen again.
Okay, so you're saying non-Star Wars, because I mean, me personally, I would love to see him write and direct an episode of The Mandalorian.
I mean, I would love to see that too, but I think that
he can't.
I don't think that he can do that as a person. Like, I think it would be too much for him to do, not in terms of work, but just in terms of emotional stress on him. I don't think he would be willing to do that. But I think that there is a story in his mind that he could make into another incredible sci-fi franchise or another franchise of whatever genre, because he is a storyteller. He is a creator. And I think that given
his last film would have been Red Tails, right?
I think so. Yeah. Lucas is, let me see.
I believe so. That would have been the last from him.
Yeah, because he didn't do the indie stuff.
Well, he was involved
this is all.
He was involved in Indie 4, right?
On his IMDb page that it's like, you can't even look at it. Like, look at this. Under writer, it's all his based on stuff. Like, they have every episode of The Mandalorian under writer because it's based off of characters.
Yeah.
Thanks
IMDb, you useless piece of shit.
You really fucked
I'm pretty
up
positive it's Red Tails was his last
director.
Yeah.
Actually, he didn't direct Red Tails. His last thing that he directed was Revenge of the Sith.
There you go. A classic.
Ouch, right?
Oh, yeah, but anyways, it'd be fun. I mean, it would be nice to see, and I think a lot of fans would shed a tear if you saw that Lucas name pop up again in blue, set against that starry background. So,
yeah, I mean, I want to see him do other Star Wars related content again.
Right.
I just don't know if he has it in him.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's probably too painful. I mean, it'd be no different than selling a kid, I'd imagine. So,
yeah, Red Tails. So Nico's asking.
I know exactly what Nico's getting at, because a red tail is a form of a marijuana cigarette. So
it's a World War II fighter pilot movie.
Right. It was the all black Squadron
Tuskegee Airmen.
Yep. From what I remember, the movie wasn't that good. I'm not I like the topic. I love World War II stuff. The idea of the red tails.
It was done under Lucasfilm, but it wasn't him. Anthony Hemingway was the director.
All right.
And it was written by John Ridley. I don't know who either of those people are. So
I haven't seen it since it came out. I just remember I was like, I was expecting it to be better. It didn't quite feel like your typical World War II movie.
Yeah, 2012. And it is sad, man. Like, when you look at his actual credits, not all the shit that's associated with him now because of based on stuff, that his last movie was Revenge of the Sith, And
Nick, when you have 5.1 billion in the bank, I guess you're like, whatever. And he had 50 episodes of his TV show ready, written.
That's true.
He just was like, you know what? Fuck all this shit.
Yeah. But I want to see something original from George Lucas. I think that there's still an idea in his head.
THX 1139, the sequel.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. the follow up, American Graffiti 2.
Yeah, you get Ron back and Harrison.
Yeah, just get them all.
They're all,
get them all going,
like in wheelchairs and shit. All right, man. Well, good stuff on that. So
yeah, I mean that's all for the Mando season 2 writers and our tangent filled exploits we went on there. So the next thing we have to talk about is the TV spot that just dropped. And Matt, you did a very quick breakdown of this
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't planning on doing something like this today, but I woke up, I think Scion dropped it in the chat there, and then, you know, honestly, when I really looked at it and knowing some things about this egg canister that leaked a few weeks ago on the Funko Pop, I was like, you know what, there is something here. There is something here with this. So I decided to do a little breakdown of this TV spot. And we can't even call it a TV spot. I mean, it was one of those social media spots. So its aspect ratio is fucked. Like, it's literally just a big fucking 1x1 square so it can fit on Instagram and shit like that. But in the end, it didn't really add much to the trailer we've seen. I think I grabbed maybe 8 new screen pics, which is essentially those were the new where it was the new imagery that we got. Yeah. And Nick, really the interesting aspect of this TV spot, if we cross-section it with a leak from Funko that happened a few weeks back. So I guess spoilers, I don't know, people get mad over speculation spoilers these days, but there you go. So there we go, spoiler time. All right, so a few weeks back, this Funko Pop leaked. I didn't feel like putting it up. I was just being lazy, to be honest with you. But if you're on the live stream, I would assume you can see it right now. I don't know. I'm clearly having tech issues with Audacity shit in the bed, but you can see this Funko Pop package. It's called the Child with Egg Canister. All right, so you got the little guy looking at this egg canister that has backpack straps and there's eggs in it, and he's looking at it like, oh, he's fawning over it. So as Nick said, and I even kind of postulated here in my breakdown, maybe it truly is just food. Who knows,
dude? I'm almost gonna take it to the bank, because if we get down to your screenshots, the one that we actually see it. This is what's happening. I'm going to tell you what's happening right now. We're on whatever planet.
Right. So it's either Mon Cala, Karn, or something. It's a watery planet, but
we're on Mon Cala. The people that are walking in front of Mando is a mama and a kid, because you can see that the mom's like holding the kid's hand, and the shit that's on that kid's back, the one with the little pink head, is her lunch kit. And she's taking her to the boat. It's like, okay, it's time to go to school, Mary. Don't forget your lunch. Here's your pencil that you need for class. And then the fucking baby sees the eggs floating in there, and he's like, So Mando gets himself, either takes it from the little girl, or he gets himself an egg backpack, and that's Baby Yoda's food.
Well, that's fair enough. That is one angle, and that's one I brought up. Maybe it truly is just a food source, but it pops up again as the Mando is exploring an ice cave with the baby in tow under his arm, and Mando's got on his back as he's shooting at something. So, Nick, if it truly is a food source, couldn't you just leave the fucker in the ship while you went to explore whatever you're looking for in the cave?
I think it's just the baby is so hungry now.
Oh, get out.
He's growing. He's growing. He's like a growing being.
Okay.
You know?
All right. I do not. I think it being a food source is too big of a layup, and really the fact that Mando has brought it with him into clear danger. Like, I mean, I think we can all agree that they didn't go to this ice planet expecting some sort of friendly reception. I mean, even the scenes in the last trailer where we see them walking through, I mean, I believe his gun's drawn. He's on edge. Like, he's ready for some bad shit to go down. So again, if it is just truly a food source, can't the baby just wait the fucking 10 minutes? You know what I mean?
Matt, you've had a baby before, right? You've had a baby. Have you never tried to walk out of the door with something and they just throw a hissy fit?
Yeah, but
I want my baby doll.
You're right.
I want it.
You're right.
I'm not going anywhere without it.
You're right, but my baby wasn't 50 and couldn't use the Force and kill people either, so...
But he still has the baby mentality. He still wants his num-nums.
I don't know. And again, I'm not just completely discounting it. It could 100% just be, hey, this is just some fucking snacks for homeboy. Because if you look at the pop shot again, I mean, he's going up to them like, ooh, I can eat this shit.
Yeah.
Just some far out speculation. These could be eggs of Yoda's race, right? Who the fuck knows?
That was the other thing I was going to say. It could be like other baby Yoda
we don't
eggs.
know if they have penises and vaginas. Yaddle and Yoda straight getting, willy with, getting jiggy with each other. We don't know that. So it could be that. I mean, hell, maybe these eggs are other force-sensitive creatures. I think I also speculated that, and I kind of shit on it because it'd be too similar to S1E2, but maybe Mando goes to this planet and these are of importance to this race of people and he needs to go get some for them in exchange for something. So that's why he's in the ice cave wearing this special pack to get the eggs from whatever sea or cave monster they want. But to me, it'd be like you're just doing Suka all over again. So I don't think they're that lazy or dumb to do that. It's just odd that this thing is showing up in toys, meaning it means something, right? I can tell you that, yeah. Nick. In toys, you don't usually get either those Funko sets or accessories if they're not meaningful to the property.
Yeah.
So we got that. We got the fact that we've seen it in the trailer on these water people, and now we've seen it again in the TV spot in Mando's possession. So
I think he just buys it off this kid. He's like, my kid he likes eggs. Can I just buy this off of you? Look here, I'll give you. Here's
you know
50
what?
Credits.
I think Twinkle Tits, our boy Greg, has a good idea too. Clone eggs.
Greg hasn't been right about anything he's ever said.
I'm giving him this shout out. Clone eggs. That has potential too. Why not? We still haven't learned anything more about what that Camino scientists wanted with this shit. You'd imagine they'll be coming back into play. I don't think Moff Gideon has just scrapped all his plans just because he didn't get them at the end of S1E8. So I don't know. I mean, that's really the only reason I wanted to look at this TV spot, because of that egg canister. It has now popped up in a supposed toy leak. It was in the first trailer. Now it's in Mando's possession, and clearly it means something to the child. Is it just a food source like Nick said? Who knows? They might be going overboard trying to sell that gag at this point if it's in all these trailers and Mando's possessions and toy marketing, this, that, and the other thing. We really didn't get anything else. I mean, we got a great shot of the child, like I said, doing his best Grandmaster Yoda impression. I mean, he's got the perfect Jedi Council chamber seat down, right? I mean, he's sitting cross-legged. Yeah, I mean, you might as well just make him Grandmaster right now. A further pulled out shot of what we believe is Tatooine, even more so now with that shot, and then just an expanded look at that fight scene at the end. It's not going to just fade to black. He actually does physically kick the egg out of the way, the child's egg, not the egg canister, and proceeds to beat the shit out of whoever those henchmen were. So
yeah. So, I mean, get ready to see these every now and then, given that we're only 17 days out from release. You're probably going to start to see more social media spots, maybe TV spots. I mean, who the fuck knows now? Like, I don't know if people do TV spots anymore because people don't watch traditional TV that much anymore.
It really is. I mean, I bet, not that we really have many people that watch live, but I would anticipate that if we did a poll, more people would say that they don't have a cable package versus those that do.
Dude, just look at the numbers in terms of the number of people watching major sporting events. Like the NBA Finals had the lowest viewer, numbers it's had in the last 20 years or something like that. Like even the Super Bowl at this point is now down to where you're only getting 100 million eyes on it.
Well, Nick, I mean, according to some people, they're not watching the NBA because they had hashtags and shirts and shit like that.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. But anyway, I mean, like, if you just look at the potential audience share at this point now, you have on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these other things, you have literally billions of people.
Right.
Billions.
I'll tell you what, though, it's not even that much cheaper to be a cable cutter these days, though.
It's not.
It really isn't. I mean, I'm probably paying more because I have every fucking streamer under the sun, and YouTube TV They seem to, their business model is let's keep taking away, but keep raising the price.
Yeah, $60 a month now is insane for you.
Right, I'm getting to the point of scrapping that shit soon here. So
I have the Hulu Disney Plus bundle, which is $8.99 a month. I have 4K Netflix, which is $15, and then we have HBO Max free through our internet service and Prime. That's all we got.
Yeah, I've got them all. I think I use one. I basically use Netflix. That's it. And I get the Apple Plus.
We bounce between Netflix and Hulu.
Right.
That's the two that we use most often.
All right, so there you go. Keep your eyes on that egg canister. I think it's going to mean something, or it's not. Like Nick said,
or it's not.
Like Nick said, it's just a fucking elaborate looking snack jar.
It's a lunch kit.
But you know what? Greg reminded me. Greg's on a fucking roll right now. I mean, he must have got up and drank his coffee in that land down under. But I'm the one that said that I believe the Razor Crest has crashed. So I guess that's why he has the little egg tank with him.
Yeah, he's like, God damn. It's like, well, all right, well, we got to take it with us now.
You got to think, Mando's got PTSD, like Jawa PTSD. I know they're not on the ice planet, but he's probably like, I can't leave my ship ever again. Or these little fucking scavenging shitheads are going to strip it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, that's his lunch bag. That's his lunch kit.
All right.
It's going to be just like the ball, like the little top of the thing, because that was included.
Nick is tagging it to the bank. The egg canister is nothing but a feeding tank. I'm going with it has a little more impact than that. So we'll see. The challenge has been thrown down. We're about ready to run through the Star Wars Time Show Mandalorian Speculation Gauntlet. Okay, Nick, we got one more little topic here within the streaming space, and this is for Kenobi. I think we got some somewhat concrete news. I mean, this one, kind of like the Cassian Andor series, it feels like every couple months it's filming at a different date and time, a different year. But thanks to our good friend Ewan McGregor going around doing some promo for whatever, he was on the Graham Norton show, and obviously they're going to ask him about it, but he sounded pretty committed that they are going to start filming the Kenobi series March 2021.
I believe he mentioned this in a previous interview as well, that like they're starting in, I don't know if he said March. I know that he mentioned a day, or he mentioned a time that wasn't January.
Yeah, it was January. Andor was in January. Who knows? But it sounds, at least according to McGregor, unless his publicist or assistant gave him a shitty schedule, he's looking to start donning the robes again in March. So technically, as I kind of postulate here in the article, they could still get season 1 of Kenobi out by the end of 2021. Just hear me out here. It's going to be less episodes than a Mando season, and we already know they can do a Mando season in a calendar year on top of having a pandemic. So it's just going to be less to shoot. It possibly is going to be less characters, I mean, I don't think we're going to have a posse like Mando found.
No way.
I think it's going to stick to just Kenobi and some of his interactions, exchanges on Tatooine. So you're probably not going to have a huge production. But I really do. I think, barring World War III or America literally lighting itself on fire, which could still happen. Don't worry. We still have time to do that. I do think we could get it in 2021, but at this point, I'd say at the latest, this will be Disney Plus's January, February series for 2022.
Yeah, that seems like it would make the most sense. But like you mentioned, you're going to have a much shorter turnaround time.
It's just, it comes down, are they going to reserve the fall for Mando at this point? You know what I mean? I mean, are other shows going to have to take up the Clone Wars' spot from this year? Where I think it started airing late January, February, and the March, April. Mm-hmm. So because you would assume that Mando 3, which is at least being written, I don't know if they started principal yet, you'd assume they're going to want to drop it October, November of 2021. Yeah. And is that enough time to space out for Kenobi? I don't think so.
Yeah. if you're continuing on the 8-episode train for Mando, then that takes you basically to the end of December every time.
Right.
If you drop in October, late October, we're not going to finish Mando if you're 8 episodes until the end of December. Then you roll into it. I think they want to keep that cadence, but it kind of doesn't make sense to me that you have your shows loaded like that. Like you have it essentially loaded to be Q4, Q1, and then you have nothing in the middle of the year.
Well, for their Star Wars slate, you got to remember these people. They're also planning. We're eventually going to get the Winter Soldier show, the WandaVision's
coming out.
To them, they're like, you and I were like Star Wars all year, Q1 through 4. They're like, fuck it, we'll give them 2 Star Wars series a year, 2 Marvel series a year, and that'll eat up the 4 quarters. So the more I've kind of talked myself out of Kenobi being 2021, I think it will be the Q1 2022. Star Wars deal.
Yeah, it makes the most sense, honestly, if it comes out like that. So I'm hoping that we get more than 4 episodes, but if we get 4 episodes that are 40 minutes each, that gives us a nice 2-hour long 2+ hour long movie. So
yeah, and then really the only other thing McGregor said, he's like, hey, this time it's a little different. Back then I was trying to act as Alec as if Alec was young, trying to act as Obi-Wan. Now he's like, now I'm gonna try to meet his old Ben performance a bit more. So it'll be interesting. I mean, he's not gonna be full on old Ben. He's not that far into it. I think Luke would only be 10-ish at this point. So we'll see. I mean, I always love hearing from you, and I believe it's Liam and Tones. They're the ones that recommended to check out his a Longest Road, or it's some fucking
it's a docuseries where he essentially like him and one other guy,
him and his buddy Charlie or something. They drive
motorcycles
like thousands and thousands of miles. I think all through South America up to Hollywood. So he's just a fucking cool guy. Like I think Ewan's a guy, and you never know with the Hollywoods, but I think if you saw him on the street and you weren't a fucking cocksucker, he would sit down at a pub with you and have a drink.
Yeah, I think so.
Like if you didn't run up like, oh, Ewan, I love you, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. Look, I can say it. Hello there.
I'm sure that so many people say hello there to him at this point that he's just immune to it.
He's just going to reply, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, just like it's just like fucking Dave Chappelle with "I'm Rick James, bitch."
Right.
That's like he would say that. People would say that to him while he was walking through Disney World with his kids. Like it's just like that's just how it is for you and now. It's like it's hello there, which is much nicer to hear than "I'm Rick James, bitch" constantly.
That's great. So yeah, there we go. Kenobi hopefully shooting in March if everyone's not dead. And at this point, I think it would be the Q1 2022 Disney Plus big release.
I think so too. Yeah.
Whew, all right, dude, we've made it to the fan segment at the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
And I only have recorded audio for about 30 minutes of the show. That's what I'm thinking about right now. So before we get into the top 5, which this week it is a +1er. That's right. Nick let me play. I got to pick my top one. But before we get that, we had a question of the week. And it seems these type of questions, I don't know if we got many more reactions, Nick, but we definitely get detailed answers.
I'm going to say that I'm disappointed that all of you were so vanilla with your answers.
Okay. Well,
I'm just going to put it out there. Everybody picked the same fucking guy.
Right.
Like, have some fucking imagination.
There is the question.
So here's the question of the week. Before I go on a spout about everybody's answer being the same. The question of the week is, who is the greatest Sith of all time and why? Okay, so very straightforward question. I think that Matt and I have had many conversations about the greatest Sith of all time, and I think that for the most part, we kind of lean towards Palpatine, just seeing what he's done in the Star Wars galaxy.
I mean, 150 plus year career of sowing hate and discord into an entire galaxy. I will say
that my answer has changed, and I agree with somebody else who's in these responses.
Can you read this first one, Nick? Because I need to save some energy to read Bosajan's this week, because it is literally going to take probably 10 minutes.
Yes. So first response is from Mark Monarch, aka Toy Box Photography, on Instagram, and he says, Palpatine. Why? Palpatine is Star Wars. All the conflict and turmoil. Oh, wow, I zoomed in too much. All the conflict and turmoil that happened in all 6 movies, plus the 3 fanfics, were because of him. Plus the 3 fanfics. I like how he puts that. Were because of him. And he played everybody in the movies and TV series like a violin, succeeded in the eradication of the Jedi Order, and toppled a 1,000-year government to supplant his own new order, a feat that no other Sith Lord was able to accomplish before him. That may not be true. I'm just going to put that out there. Sure, there were Sith Lords like Revan and Bane who accomplished great and lasting things in their lifetime, but Palpatine achieved far greater things in the long run. One would argue that there was a Sith Empire before his time, but there was also a Republican Jedi Council at the same time. With Sidious, he made sure there was only one faction standing, and it was his. Palpatine is proof that you need an impressive physique, cool armor.
There you go.
You don't need an impressive physique, cool armor, and a mask to be the greatest.
I like that ending there. That is a great point about our boy Sheev. This dude did it all through manipulation, planning, and patience.
Yes. I mean, it is like, if you're looking at, one of the most successful overthrows of a government at one time, I agree with you. I agree with you that he did it masterfully. I think that he's definitely
and he really didn't have to lift a finger himself. I think the most physical work he did was dispatched of the bozo Jedi in his office.
Yeah, that was about
it. And then fended off Yoda.
Yeah.
Outside of that, he just sat there and like whispered shit into people's ears, and here we go. He is the epitome of a mob boss, the Godfather. It's just beautiful. So yeah, I mean,
I will say that it was beautifully done, but it was a short-lived reign. I will say.
There you go. Yeah, he only had 30 years when he was at the top, if that. If not even, it would have been 23, 24, something like that.
Yeah, it's like however old Luke was. I mean, and really, you still had a Senate. You still had the Senate. He kept the Senate for, I'd say, 18, 19 years. He kept the Senate for 18 years, which, is, I mean, you could argue that at that point really didn't matter. Like the senators were vestigial organs. Yeah,
they weren't doing shit. Anything. I mean, he was the emperor. He did whatever he wanted to.
But yeah, I mean, it was a short-lived reign. So good answer. And I will say that, holy shit, that was basically the answer for fucking everybody. There were, I think, essentially there were 3 answers that were given to this.
I think it comes down to, like, are there movie people like me, or are you a book legend person like Nick? Because, I mean, if you just know the movies, which is fine. I mean, Nick just likes being a dickhead. But yeah, it's just the movies. Yeah, Palpatine, there's no fucking question. But if you get into the expanded universe, some of the legend shit, the games, there could be other answers. So, all right.
Yeah.
Let me get ready for this one.
This is like a novel.
It's a good one. Like we don't just put these up here just to entertain Darth Hideous, aka Bosajan. I mean, he entertain. They are funny, and he writes basically little stories, and he's talking to us and really to all of us. So that's why he gets featured during these. Hopefully they'll get cut down a little bit, because I really think this one's going to take about 5 full minutes. So here we go. So, you want to know my opinion on who's the greatest Sith of all time? Well, that's a great question and horribly hard to answer, but as always, I'll cockwaffle my way around the Star Wars universe to give you cunts my thoughtful opinion. Everyone will say Vader. Well, according to Nick, everyone said Palpatine. Yes, he's the most well-known and the most badass, that's in quotes, but is he really? He got beaten by Obi-Wan almost to the point of death. He couldn't even kill Palps. He turned from the dark side and was ultimately redeemed, making him a failure of a Sith. Well, what about Palpatine, I hear you say? That's also a good point. No one can say that Palps wasn't a great fucking strategist. He manipulated the Republic like the little bitches they were to become his empire, right under the nose of the Jedi. He took charge of the hunting down and destruction of the Jedi Order, but he was beaten by Mace, say what again, motherfucker, Windu. And if not for Anakin's betrayal, he would have been a head shorter. So where do we go now, I hear you say? Let me flip the page. Well, yeah. Darth Bane. Now there's a Sith Lord of greatness. He destroyed the Sith Empire and distilled all its teaching down to the rule of fucking 2. Genius! He used his hatred and anger as a source of his power, and like the sneaky cunt that he was, he secretly made it so that when an apprentice killed their master, unbeknownst to the apprentice, the spirit of that Sith resided in the apprentice. Every time adding another soul to the eternal Sith. What a fucking badass douchebag! So he's in the running. What about Revan, y'all are saying? Well, fuck that guy. He was a Jedi whom was mind wiped and turned only to turn back to the light side. It chaps my asshole just thinking about this pussy bitch being considered a Sith Lord. Oh, come on, I hear you saying. It must be Darth Malgus, you're saying. He was a boss. He brought back the Sith Empire. He led the assault, albeit failed, attack on Alderaan. He led the sacking of Coruscant and the raid on the Jedi Temple. Let me turn the page. Yes, he destroyed the temple, but he was betrayed by the Dark Council. We could do this all day. Bane, for me, is the most powerful of Sith, but Darth Maul is the ultimate example of the dark side. He's all emotion. He's all hatred. It fuels his power. He's dangerous and cunning when it comes to his motivations. He used his hatred and rage to sustain him when he got cut in fucking half. He's also the first person on film to kill Liam Neeson. That says everything you need to know about this perfect motherfucker. And that ends, as Liam says, that ends this week's episode of Storytime with Bostajan.
I mean, yeah, that's a good one. I like it. I like his inclusion of Darth Bane in there because I really do think that people need to understand the importance of that character, and I don't think enough people know who he is. Do yourself a favor and just go to the Star Wars wiki and read it. Read his page, because he is essentially the reason why Palpatine was able to succeed. Like Bostajan mentioned, I mean, in the way that it seemed in the book, if you read the books, Bane had figured out essence transfer. Essentially what Palpatine did. Moved his essence from one.
Well, I mean, they don't really explain it in Tross, but he is at that point the Sith Eternal zombie.
Yes.
Like
that's not the first time that name has been used either.
But as Bostajan said, and as Palpatine says as much to Rey, he really does have all of those Sith Lord spirits within him.
Exactly. So before that concept kind of took shape, there was the idea that, and this is before they wiped canon and they set up this idea of the Eternal. It was thought that Bane was actually the guy that Bane was Palpatine, because Bane had figured out, if you read the novels, essence transfer, which is transferring your soul into another being's body, and you could dominate their soul and push it down, and then you would take control of that.
So, I mean, technically, Sheev, once he kills Plagueis, he gets Plagueis, but if you go all the way back, it's like a pyramid scheme, right? It's like a Sith pyramid scheme. Bane is still at the top there. So, Palpatine had Bane's soul, Plagueis' soul.
Yeah, all of the ones that had kind of added up to that point. But it was thought that it was just Bane. Like they like once that those series of books ended, everybody was like, oh well, fucking Darth Bane is Palpatine. Like his name is Palpatine now. He's calling himself Palpatine, but he is Darth Bane.
Right.
As Darth Bane has successfully dominated the souls of everybody, of every Sith that he has been,
now this is getting really dorky here, but technically Palpatine wouldn't have consumed Bane's soul until he killed his master, right?
So yeah,
because it's a change. It's like once the apprentice kills the master gets the master's soul plus every soul that master had from their masters when they killed him as apprentice.
Yeah, like, and here's the thing: like, you have to read the end of that book to see what it feels like, because this is what happens at the end of the third Bane book. He's showing down with his apprentice Darth Zana. And she uses Sith sorcery, this crazy, like she can summon shadows from the ground that essentially disintegrate your body. So they're going at it, and she has him. She essentially has him dead to rights, and he's dead. And all he has to do is touch you in order to do to initiate the essence transfer. So as he's dying, he grabs her ankle, and it happens. Like the essence transfer kicks off. And the way that the book ends is you don't know if Bane has successfully dominated her spirit and taken over her body or not. Like there's not a clear answer to it. So it wouldn't even be that the apprentice's spirit still exists. It's that he has taken it over. So it's really weird.
Yeah, it's definitely getting fucking really goofy in my head right now.
The way that they've done it now is like essentially every time an apprentice kills a master and becomes the master, their spirits compound on top of each other, and you're building, like you said, a pyramid of whatever.
Oh wow, it was a very interesting way to get to Darth Maul. I mean, I love Maul as a character, but I don't think he's the greatest Sith. Papa Palpatine calls him the Starscream of Star Wars. It's a pretty fair comparison. I don't think he was as douchey as Starscream, but he is this kind of like, he always has grand plans and wants to be the leader, but he always gets foiled in the end. So I see that.
Maul is he's all
bite. He's a barking dog, a biting dog. That's what he is. He's just an attack dog. I still love the guy. He's still my number 2. So back the fuck up. All right, good one there, Bossajan. Thank you as always.
So this is the one that I'm going with is the good
OACs. You hear that? OAC, and OAC is in the chat.
He is. So OAC, and then also there were a couple of other people who mentioned Vitiate. And so this is his response, and I'll expand
this stuff. If you're watching a live stream, this stuff to me is like this. Like I'll out myself. I know a lot of fucking Star Wars stuff. Once these guys get into this, it's way over my head.
Yeah. So
I blame it on PC gaming, right, Nick? I don't know about this because of PC gaming.
Exactly where the only way that you can get any sort of lore on Vitiate outside of going to Star Wars wikis is by playing Star Wars The Old Republic MMO. And I told Matt before we went online, I was like, dude, after reading these Vitiate responses, it makes me want to play the game again, because I stopped playing at Knights of the Eternal Throne, which doesn't finish the Vitiate line. Like that storyline is still active. So I didn't get to see.
Is that game EOL'd? Like, is it dead, or can people still play?
No, it's still live. They still put out content for it. So it's still being actively developed. I mean, I have a strong feeling that they're probably going to nuke it soon, just because I don't even know if it's considered. I don't think it's considered canon, even though it's still a live and actively developed game. Right. I think that was something that Disney decided, like, hey, we're, just like KOTOR. Like, KOTOR is not canon. KOTOR is Legends. And they did the same thing with that, because it's essentially a continuation of the KOTOR storyline. So OAC, Old Architect Customs, here is his response. He says, haha, this is an easy one. The Immortal Emperor, a.k.a. Darth Vitiate, a.k.a. Valkorian. This man was the pure embodiment of the dark side. He devoured entire planets, Ziost, which he, in canon, in that story he did. Ziost, force on top of a huge chunk of the Sith that came to the planet to take a part in a ritual. Purely brutal. He captured his father's essence and trapped it in a holocron for years. He captured and kept Darth Revan in a prison for years. And while doing all of this, he was able to transfer his force essence to a completely different part of the galaxy and create an entirely other society of, well, I wouldn't say they were Sith at all, but he seriously is the most amazing Sith ever. Makes Sidious, Vader, Bane look like children. I was so hoping they would have worked him into the new trilogy and made Snoke vitiate. Now that would have been something. There's really bad punctuation in here. OAC. I'm trying to read it. Punctuation is all.
No, it's not you, OAC. Nick just can't read.
I can't read. Would have been something. It would have tied Legends in the canon. Oh well, missed opportunity.
Well, it kind of sounds like they were doing a version of this character.
They essentially
in
took that.
In Colin's version, right?
Well, I don't think it was that. Like they essentially took what Vitiate was, like what was achieved with Vitiate, and applied it to Palpatine. Like he's the Sith Eternal Emperor.
I'm talking about that. You remember the Colin?
Oh no, I know who you're talking about.
They had that almighty Sith being that Kylo goes and tries to learn, how to suck the life out of people, this, that, and the other thing. It sounds like that thing was kind of this guy.
Yeah, maybe. It's similar in a way. But there's another one. There's another response that's Vitiate that will expand more on it. But essentially, Vitiate had figured out the way to eternal life. And in the Plagueis novel, Plagueis was researching Vitiate / Valkorion, because Valkorion is a name that he takes on in another life.
This is the guy, I believe, he figured out how to transfer your essence into objects, right? Was he the one where Vader had that helmet that had this guy's spirit in it?
I don't think it was him.
But I think it is canon to where Sith can transfer their essence into objects versus people.
Yeah, like he was doing it into people, and basically he ran multiple empires at the same time. Like Valkorion / Vitiate is the Sith Emperor who turned Malak and Revan to the dark side. Like when they went out, he orchestrated the Mandalorian Wars. Like he was the Palpatine before there was a Palpatine.
So where does Bane fall in here? Like is Bane
is about 2,000 years after
this guy.
Vitiate.
So Bane technically is just building upon Vitiate's what he learned in terms of essence transferring and this, that, and the other thing.
Exactly. And the unfortunate part is that because of what Bane did, Vitiate had essentially distilled the essence of 8,000 Sith into his form, into his Force essence. The one thing that OAC mentions here is that he did this ritual. So what he did was he took everybody to, it wasn't Zyos at that point, it was Nathema, this other planet, and he gathered 8,000 of the remaining Sith there, and he consumed the essence of the entire planet and all 8,000 Sith in a ritual to essentially make him an immortal being. And that was the first time that you kind of saw this idea of stacking your Force essences onto each other. And he creates this eternal empire that's run off of this planet called Zakul that's happening in the shadows, but he's also running the Sith Empire in the actual galaxy at the time. So he's running two different empires at the same exact time, and then merges them all back together to start this assault on the galaxy. And he did this over 1,500 years. So he was the Sith Lord Master running multiple empires for 1,500 years.
So who the fuck takes him out?
He was killed by his family. So
now
this is another.
Now is this something Bane would have read about, and that kind of is like, you know what, us Sith clearly can't handle our anger. We need the rule of two.
So it could have possibly been into it, but in the book, Vitiate hasn't been, like, when Bane books were written, Vitiate hadn't been created as a character yet. So then that's like where all this,
they're all kind of
canon, like, it gets weird.
It bleeds into others. They sound like the same guy. This and other thing. Yeah. Either way, I like listening to this shit because I mean this stuff.
Just go read Valkorian's Star Wars wiki page, because basically
I might do it OAC. I think this is what he said he did. He just watched all the cutscenes of SWTOR and just basically had a movie for all this stuff. Is that something I could do? Like, because there's someone out there on YouTube that probably has stitched together a SWTOR movie.
Yeah.
And now, is that something, if I watched it, would I pick up on all this shit? Or do you like have to read in-game crap? And
so they did a thing where they did like a timeline, like Star Wars The Old Republic did like a timeline where they will have somebody narrate to you like parts of old Star Wars history. And I'm not sure, like, again, I stopped playing it when the Vitiate Valkorian line was still live. So I don't know if there were cutscenes or like what has been put together on YouTube in terms of like, if people are only doing cinematics, then you're probably not going to catch the whole thing. You would need actual like in-game cutscenes to fill in a lot of these gaps with Valkorian. But it's his story is really well done. Right. And honestly, like, I wish they would have made Knights of the Old Republic 3 based off of the Knights of the Eternal Throne storyline in a single player console mode, because it's such a good story that basically finishes the Revan arc. Like, you find out that like Revan has been mind fucked by this Sith Emperor out in the unknown regions of space, and you never find out who he is until Valkorian is introduced to you. And so the way that he has a family is that he like takes over the body of this one Zakulan knight. His name was Valkorian, and that's why he takes that name. He has 3 kids. They're all imbued with this incredible force power from Vitiate's, force essence. And eventually his son Arkin kills his physical body, but that's when Vitiate, the actual force being, is connected to your player character, so the person you play in the game. And then later on down the line, and this is where I stopped playing because I didn't get to it, but his 3 kids, their like essences fight against his, and they banish him forever.
All right. Hey, I'm going to address a few questions we've been getting in the chat here on Sith passing their spirit. Those of you wondering, it looks like Tones, this came up in a Vader run, maybe back in 2018, I think. Yeah, Darth Vader number 24 from 18. The Sith Lord I've been talking about is Darth Momin. Momin is the guy that, at least in canon, I think, taught people or taught Sith that they could pass their essence to inanimate objects like a helmet. Yeah. I have it pulled up on the live stream right now. I knew I wasn't crazy, but there is a comic run, so it is canon at this point, where Vader has this helmet that is infected with the spirit of Momin. And Nick, you remember we were talking about this before Tross came out. How did Palpatine survive? And we were basing it off of this Momin stuff. So those of you that have questions about Sith, at least canon-wise, and how they can pass their essence to objects, look up Darth Momin in the Vader number 24. Yeah. So it is a canon story, and Tones, again, he's asking, well, can you pass it to inorganic things? And I would say so if Momin was able to pass his essence to a helmet. Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can pass, like, in terms of like inanimate object transfer. Yeah, you can do that. It's essentially the same way that Sith ghosts would attach themselves to places in a way.
Right. And it's just, I believe this is canon, and it was as early as last year when we were talking about this Momin stuff. Sith can only transfer their essence to objects, other things. They cannot fully become one with the Force and become an ethereal spirit like the Jedi can. While they can both use the Force is at least like, you know what, fuck you people. You've been using me wrong the whole way. You've been using me for evil. Therefore, you cannot become a ghost.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's another response that is Valkorian related that gives a couple more details on him. So once we get there, we can talk about it a little bit more. But we have more responses.
Yeah,
to go through.
Let's keep going. That was a long one.
This one's from Greg Bird. This is a bullshit response. I shouldn't even read it. He says, "Lord Sithilus, ha 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 ha." After being fucked over. The first sign of Lord Syphilis is a sore nutbag and throbbing rectum with wart-like sores over your balls. After that, he comes back with a kick-ass rash, and you don't see him coming, but you know he's around if you're banging around the inner rim.
Hey, I am 40. I will never ever be too old for piss, shit, dick, fart, and other body part jokes.
That's the level of discourse that we get.
Greg, your boy, I'm the reason that made it to the show, buddy. So
that is 100% true. We get Bostajan, who gives while expletive laden, very thought out responses, and then we get poopy jokes. I
love Greggy boy, Lord Sithilus. I love it. Okay, up next, hey, young Liam getting a shout out on the fan question of the week this week.
So this is, Liam Samard Photography on Instagram. He says, has to be Palpatine, even though he wasn't then the most powerful of all time. He was the one who truly won. He was the one who was smart enough to infiltrate the Jedi Order and turn their own army against them, ultimately wiping them out. He was able to make the Sith the rulers of the galaxy for a fair amount of time, and he was able to clone himself into other bodies, if forever reason the one he was. What?
Hey, we don't have the
other bodies, if forever reason the one he was in would die. If for whatever reason the one he was in would die.
Let's just say English is not our fans' strong suit.
yeah, exactly. In my opinion, with all of that and his insane amount of manipulation is why he is on top as the greatest Sith of all time. So yeah, Palpatine, again, a very popular response here because of the events that we see.
It really is. I mean, it comes down to, are you movie canon only, or are you someone that got into words and shit at some point in time?
Words and shit, video games and shit. I think that there's a lot of, there's just a lot more. Because if you, like, in my opinion, if you limit yourself to the movies in terms of what you're reading, there's only 3 Sith. There's Vader.
No. For this,
there's Dooku
and Maul. I mean, Maul was a Sith for a little bit. I would, but no. For these questions, dabble wherever you want to go. I'm not saying it's just movie, but if we want to kind of keep things to canon, that's pretty much what we're left with these days. The films, the comics. Once Disney took over, I think so, 2015 and on, something like that, and whatever they put out on YouTube. I mean, that's it. That is our canon these days. All this shit sounds fantastic. Like, I would love, like, I might try to find those YouTube videos. I think OAC said he might hook me up with some links. But yeah, if it comes down to reading, it's not going to happen for me at this point in time. It's just not.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't fucking read. I can't.
I totally get it.
That's why, by the way, that's why Nick reads all these responses. I really, I can't read.
Even I can't read. You can clearly see.
All right, I'll take one from Nick because he's been doing all the heavy lifting. So I'll take the next one here from Anthony, which looks like it came in on a different platform, which is a surprise.
This came in through Facebook Messenger.
Look at that. All right, so Anthony, hey now, guys, I love it. He's got the hey now. All right, my friend Action Figure Noob turned me on to the show, and I love all the eps I've listened to so far. We love you too, Anthony. We speak your name. I don't really Instagram, but wanted to respond to your question of the week. That's fine. We're on all the platforms, or at least the ones that we think are good. But in all honesty, we only look at Instagram. So I'm surprised Nick even found this.
Because whenever we do get a message on the Facebook page, it comes through on my phone.
Gotcha. So. Perfect. I'm glad someone's paying attention to the FB here, because I am not. All right. So after some thought, I had to give it to the Sith Emperor Tenebrae Vitiate Valkorian, whatever the hell he wants to call himself. Did I say those right?
Yes, that is
I
correct.
mean, the guy consumed all the life on 2 planets and achieved near immortality, and he created 2 different empires that he kept secret from both each other and the Republic and reigned for over 1,000 years. Sadly, he also made our boy Revan his bitch for the better part of 300 years. He basically just snapped his fingers and turned Revan and Malak to the dark side. That's all pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's who my choice is. My choice is Valkorian.
So are we saying now, Nick? I mean, they're kind of rewriting KOTOR canon now, right? They're now saying that Revan, when we saw him, was hundreds and hundreds of years old.
No, so
or he imprisons Revan after his turn back to the light.
So yes, after he turns back to the light, Revan actually plays a pretty big part in the Star Wars: The Old Republic video game. He eventually kind of, I don't want to say he turns back to the dark, but he plays like this neutral kind of position, and he reemerges into the galaxy and essentially starts a war against both the Republic and the Sith to take down everybody. He's like, the light side's wrong, the dark side is wrong, my way is the only way. And he reemerges into the galaxy as Darth Revan again and starts a war. But at this point, it had been after, I mean, like between KOTOR and SWTOR, there was a lot of time still. But there was a period of centuries where he was kind of laying dormant.
So, hey, how come all these motherfuckers back in the day could live for centuries? Like, what happened? Like, what's going on here?
I think that's what happens is that, like, with the death of Darth Vitiate, it wasn't even Darth at this point. With the death of Vitiate, you lost all that knowledge of immortality and like,
right? Because I mean, based on what you people are telling me, Palpatine should have looked like a strapping young man even at 150.
Yeah,
but I mean, we know with him, he was
picked a shit body.
He was a rotting clone body. But even as Sheev, like once he blocked that his own Sith lightning, he somehow let his body just age to an old crippled fuck.
It's like the problem is like the essence transfer, like what he was essentially looking to try to do was lost. Like that art was lost.
All
like
right. That's just me not knowing. But as like Revan lived 300, 500, 400 years, the whole thing that Revan came back, it sounds like they just took the dark ending of KOTOR and kind of went that way. I don't know. I don't know how they work together. If you played Revan the light way, I don't know. That's weird, but whatever. So I'll take your guys' word for it. This guy with 3 multiple names, he's the man. Vitiate, Tenebrae, Valkorian.
So Tenebrae was his birth name. He was a bastard son of a former Sith Lord. Vitiate was the name that was given to him by Mark Aragnos. Mark Aragnos was the Dark Lord of the Sith at the time where Tenebrae was like gaining power, and he was the one who bestowed Lord of the Sith title upon.
Is that like his, when Anakin became Vader, that,
Yeah. So Mark Aragnos was his Sith master. And then Valkorian was the name that he assumed when he built the Eternal Empire, because that was the name of the body that he inhabited.
Got you.
That's all right. So.
Well, I'll check this guy out. I mean, you guys have told me enough. I'll look at it. Even though, as one 6-shooter says, the EU is dead, and he is right, it's still it sounds like interesting content to me nonetheless.
I know. I like the way that I look at it is like it's dead. It doesn't make any sort of impact on stories being told now, but the story still exists, and I'm a person who just enjoys good content.
Right.
So I don't care if it's not canon or it's canon. Like if it's a good story, I'll read
You're a
it,
better man than I, because I am an OCD canon guy. Like if it's not canon, I can't even accept it anymore. Like it's just, it doesn't affect the world we live in, the Star Wars we're seeing being written now. Like if Valkorian can't be mentioned in The Mandalorian, he does not exist to me.
It's true. I mean, technically, like the good thing about this old canon shit, about like this old Republic shit, is like you can snap your fingers and make any of it real.
Yeah, they have the source material. We've talked about this in the past. They just don't seem to want to mine it too much. But
like you can, so like Vitiate and Valkorion could be real, and it wouldn't affect anything that happens in the shit that we see now, real canon. Like, no, you can't go back and snap your fingers and make Jaina Solo real. Like, it just can't happen.
That's gone now. Yeah, that is 100% gone. You're right. All right, next one here. We're dragging this segment out a bit. Lego Star Wars collection. He went with Vader, even pronouncing his name. You can hear the theme song. I do love Darth in terms of being a great Sith, though. He's a little wishy-washy bitch. We all know that. We all know under that armor, he was a sad, sad man.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. All right, next up, Corellian smuggler. Objectively, it's Palpatine. He overthrew the Jedi and ruled the galaxy for about 24 years. He also came back from the dead, and his blood heir now owns the Skywalker name.
I like that at the end. Good one.
It's a good one. I mean, technically, who won that trade?
Yeah, right. This is a good final fuck you to the Skywalkers there.
Yeah. Next up, it says this is the Amazing Hunter 2. I would say Vador with an O, but you have to give it to Palpatine. He made the chosen one turn to the dark side. He was manipulating the Jedi. He tortured Maul, and when Maul got captured, you can see the fear in his face. Palpatine is someone you do not mess with. He knows what he needs, and he will do it as long as he pleases. He will do it as he pleases. Nothing gets in his way. Also, he ordered Fox to kill Fives. Fox did nothing wrong. He was just following orders. Palpatine is to blame.
I'm like, Nick, do you know like how big of a movement there is for fans hating Commander Fox?
No.
It's like, especially in the toy community, like when that figure came out, people are like, I fucking hate this guy, but it's a good looking figure. I'm still going to take a picture of it. It's like, I forgot why they hit, but he was the one that executed one of the famous clones out there. But it is funny, like how many people, and I'm assuming they were younger when they watched the Clone Wars cartoons, just fucking hate Commander Fox.
I mean, that was a very rough death to take.
All right. Up next, we got Tones making a return to form here in the question of the week. So he's going with Sidious/Palpatine. From the beginning, he orchestrated the entire plot to take control over the galaxy, albeit for a short period of time. He beat all other Sith before him to achieve this ultimate goal, as well as having the power to return decades later after his demise for one final attempt at control. No Sith previously achieved this or that, the ultimate power to do so. Or had the ultimate power to do so, with a correction from Tones.
Yeah.
You can tell Tones was born before smartphones, because he still types out full sentences with periods and stuff.
Yeah, I do that.
Me too. Like and it's gotten to the point where I feel like an asshole for punctuating text messages.
No, dude, I have.
I can't. I have to do it. I can't just bullshit.
Dude, like when I the last one, and I'm not like trying to shit on anybody's writing, but like the Amazing Hunter 2, probably younger because there's no punctuation.
Well, I was gonna say is like I think Nick's struggling to read this because he hasn't been teaching younger generations like I have for the past decade. My friends, these question of the week responses, these are the type of emails and questions for help or just homework responses I get from my college students. Like where there's no periods, there's a run-on sentence for like 8 paragraphs, and I'm just going, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. I got an email yesterday that said, what do this thing help no see it? Okay? So,
wow.
Don't take it personally, Nick. It's not your fault. You can't read people that are typing like this. I'm not even going to say it's really your fault. It's just the human race is getting dumber and dumber with the more technology we have.
Yes.
People, I've had students that abbreviate their fucking names in an email. Like, abbreviate your own last name. Like, instead of typing out Haywood, I just type out HYWD. It's like, really? Really? We've gotten to this fucking part of human society? But anyways.
That's how far we've gotten. All right. Next up, we have Baron's Black Series. And he says, isn't it obvious? For Matt Haywood, it's Darth Talon. Head, tails, and a bikini, say no more. Honestly, Matt, you would like Darth Talon.
I know exactly who we're talking about. Are you kidding me? I've seen that red... yeah. She almost has like the mall tattoos, right?
Yeah, she does. Yeah. Red Twi'lek, Dark Lord of the Sith.
But he backed out. Come on, Spencer, stick with it. There's nothing wrong with Darth Talon.
Just like everybody else, he says it's actually Darth Sidious. Not to give a cliche answer, you did, Spencer. But he hid beneath the nose of whole Jedi Order and tricked them. He is a long game master planner. He turned the strongest Jedi against the Order and used him as his lapdog. He found a way back from death. He conquered and mastered so many powers and so many people.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, Palpy really is like true canon, movie canon.
Yeah.
There is no argument because of the long game, his planning, and just really how bad he trolled the Jedi. I mean, the Jedi were so fucking clueless to what was going on. Literally right under their nose.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Like, canon-wise, you really don't have too much. And like, here's the thing, like, I would argue Darth Bane would probably be greater than him, but I don't know what level of canon he is. Like, I don't know if his whole story is canon now. Like, if all three of those books are canon, then you could argue that Darth Bane was, but I don't know what level of canon.
It seems to me like if the Bane thing is canon, the whole rule of two, I would think that Bane would look at what Palpatine achieved and go, yes.
He's like, yeah,
that is what I've been fucking telling all you angry fuckheads about. This is what we can do if we just fucking have some patience and we're willing to just let time pass.
See, like, Bane was really close to Valkorion because he did something similar because, like, Bane set off what was called a thought bomb in a cave. And he had all of the surviving Sith in this cave. And he convinced them, he's like, I'm going to do this ritual and we're going to wipe out the Jedi. And really what he did was he set off a thought bomb and that trapped all of their spirits inside of this cave. And it was called like the Cave of Tears or something like that. But what he should have done is what Valkorion did and imbue all of those Sith essences into his own self, into his own force.
Well, it sounds like Bane wasn't a selfish guy. I mean, he sounds like someone that you could have a drink with, right? You sit down, have a friendly chat about murdering people and Jedi.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to worry about him sucking your soul into his.
Yeah, he's a pretty nice guy.
I like him.
All right, next up, Skeletron Photography. He says Darth Nihilus, not only was he mostly an apparition of the dark side, but he also was the Sith Lord of Hunger. He wiped out the entire biomass of a planet just by calling out in the Force and speaking to it. Also, Lycan from the Legend story Nomad could make entire rooms of people die by causing their brains to explode. Pretty good stuff there. Yeah, but I agree, like, Nihilus's power is almost unmatched.
I just think the chat right now is fantastic. Like, these people are going insane over like some of this EU stuff, and I will have to agree with Trevor a bit. Like, some of this EU stuff was pretty fucking far out, like thought bombs and eating planets and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, it's like,
I'm sorry,
it's like getting into like superhero stuff. I'm
sorry that fucking Trevor can only wrap his head around some guy shooting lightning out of his fingers. Bomb. Like, that's as far as it goes for Trevor. There is some cool shit that happened in the old EU. Yes, I saw the thought bomb.
It is pretty far out. All right, holy shit, our last one finally.
Yes.
Prob Ban Lee Vitiate, but I prefer Darth Bane to his pure raw power. So that was from Jomo Simbal. It really sounds like Vitiate and Bane are kind of thinking the same way. One, it's chicken and the egg. I'm going.
Yeah.
All right. Hell, man,
so that's the last
that was like a fucking history lesson from Nick. So I enjoyed most of it, but like some of you, I think I was getting over it there. It's kind of like Nick on Toy Talk when he starts to gloss over. That thought bomb was enough. I was like, all right, my fucking head's about to explode too. But good stuff. It's good stuff. I felt like we just went to school. We need that Star Wars history every now and then because it's not like we have much to think about right now outside of Mando and whatever pretend shows we think are coming out. So, all right. So that
go give the if you don't know who Darth Bane is, go give his wiki page a read. Go give Vitiate's page a read because there's some good. There's some good story in there. I don't care if it's canon or not canon. There's good Star Wars story with both of those characters. All right.
Okay.
We are now moving on, finally.
This is definitely going to be a 3-hour show. I know those are, that is your favorite length if you're a super fan. I'm starting to feel a hemorrhoid forming in my own asshole.
Yeah, there's some tired setting
I'm wondering if I should just start wearing diapers for these podcasts, but here we go. It is that time of the show to start to pay homage to the Star Wars Time Show faithful and all of you Star Wars fan artists out there because it is the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week +1. That's right. It's a +1 week, which means I got to make a choice out of all the amazing shots that we featured throughout the week on our Instagram account. So if you want to get in on this fun, you got to use the hashtag Star Wars Time Show. We would love for you to also tag us on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. That way, we'll see your shots. If they don't suck, they'll get featured on our page. And if they're totally excellent, if they are station, Nick will throw them into the top 5 segment, which is a post that goes up every week on StarWarsTime.net. So your work will live in infamy. And then you will also be talked about on the show, the greatest yet most unlistened to Star Wars fan podcasts in the galaxy. All right, Nick, let's get into it. You got 5. I got 1. Who was your first pick?
First pick this week was our good buddy Lights Camera Tentacles.
Oh, yes.
And this shot that he has, I love what Lights Camera Tentacles does because he basically just he just takes Star Wars figures and just makes his own shit with it.
Yeah, you can't even call this kit bashing. He is creating brand new figures by just kind of Frankensteining parts from all sorts of lines. Like, I mean, it looks like he's grabbing shit from NECA, from this toy maker, obviously the Hasbro stuff. It's just, you never know what this guy is going to create for this little, I think he calls it like the clusterfucks zone. It's this little world he's created with all these characters that are somewhat Star Wars related, but once he's done doing what he does, they are Lights, Camera, Tentacles creations.
Yes, the cluster flux is what he calls it, the nexus of realities.
Yeah.
So what we see here is what used to be a BB-8 droid that has now been repurposed and reused to make a mechanical spider that is eating somebody alive.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, this looks like a figure you would buy in a store. I mean, that's how high quality his craftsmanship is. Dude, just let's put aside that he's turned BB-8 into an arachnid.
Dude, he calls them BB-8 legs. BB-8 L3
See?
G5.
Even the fucking names are genius. But I mean, dude, just look at the paint job alone is such high quality that you got to see. If you're just listening, you got to go look him up on Instagram at lights_camera_tentacles. His entire profile is nothing but this world he has created, the cluster flux, which is it's an amalgamation of, like I said, various pop culture franchises. Yet none of them are just pure, say, Star Wars or pure Marvel. They all have Light Camera Tentacles touch to them, which it may be slightly demented, but it's fucking just... this is art, all right? I mean, the shots are good looking, but what this gentleman is doing with this hobby is it's taking the art form to a whole other level, in my opinion.
Yes, very much so. So yeah, I mean, I don't even know how else to describe this. This is BB-8 legs, created by Lights Camera Tentacles, and is now a part of his clusterfuck.
It's wild, man. I mean, it's like it's like this guy is he's a concept artist for his own hobby. It's fucking fantastic. So,
dude, if they like, I wish he would make comics. Like, I wish he would just like. I don't know if he would need to get licensing or what the fuck he would need to do, because he is kind of, like you said, like kid bashing / just taking things and making his own things out of it. But like, if he could turn what he's making on his Instagram into a comic book, that would just be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us toy photographers, I mean, people like 1/6 who we'll be talking about, they'll create some wicked looking dioramas. This guy is creating a world in this hobby. That is living, breathing. He gets a new figure. He doesn't just plop a BB-8 down there. He looks at it and he goes, yeah, I'm going to make you a fucking spider. And then does it with such a level of craftsmanship, you feel like it is, he paid for this.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, and then also like you need to do yourself a favor and read his like, his captions.
Yeah, he does. He tells a story with each shot, right? Okay, that's what I thought.
He's like, this is what he put for this one. He says the paralytic venom he'd pumped into the unfortunate human he'd lured into the alley moments earlier had worked quickly as was usual, but his venom reservoir was running low. He'd need to source new high-strength anesthetics from a local medical center very soon if he wanted to continue his work. The droid quickly harvested the organs he needed, and they were soon safely tucked away inside the chiller unit within his abdomen. He would sell them later at the clusterfuck illegal meatware market under Borgtown.
That is awesome.
Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, the imagination on this Star Wars or just pop culture fan is undeniably amazing. I mean, come on. Oh, yeah. He's got a story for this. And not only does he have the vision to create this thing, he can execute it. And now he creates a whole little tale to bring him to life. BB-8 legs is an organ harvester. I mean, this is fucking brilliant. Excellent stuff. You got to follow at Lights Camera Tentacles on Instagram. All right, man.
Lights_camera_tentacles. Beautiful, beautiful job from the clearly disturbed mind of this man. So,
a beautifully disturbed mind.
Beautifully disturbed, yes. All right, next up we have at Chris Rose Photo here on IG, and this is just a beautiful portrait shot of the Lego Razor Crest. I don't know how he got this. Like, I don't know if this is like photo editing to where like he got it to lay perfectly on top of the water like that. But what you see is the Razor Crest landed on a very still. I'll tell you, Nick,
it actually has landing gear because I just built this set this weekend. So there are actual like skis underneath it.
Okay, so it actually is sitting on the
water.
Yeah,
he probably just sat it down and then waited a few minutes to let the ripples go and to get this just, mere quality reflection.
Yeah, so it's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful portrait of the Lego Razor Crest. It looks like there's a sunrise about to happen, and like you said, the almost perfect mirror reflection that he gets in the water is just well done. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, no, Chris is great. I think he almost exclusively uses natural light for all his shots, and which can give you just these beautiful backdrops that we see in this shot right here of the Lego Razor Crest. I mean, you have hints of pink, purple, blue, navy. I mean, look at the sky. And then, like Nick said, you got that the sun is either peaking or dipping right there, which adds even more color to the shot. It's when I see stuff like this, it's like, come on, dude. You're so invested in the Legos now. You have all these great sets. Just try it once. But then the little devil's like, well, you've got fucking 800 figures that need shot first, so the Legos got to wait. But I would love to just go grab my Razor Crest right now and try to do something like this. Not that I could, because I don't live somewhere where I get great sunsets, nor do I live somewhere where there are a nice body of water that I would like to visit. So I'll just sit here and keep bitching about sucking.
There we go. So beautiful work at Chris Rose Photo on Instagram. Go give him a follow. Well done. Next up, we have a shot from Tiny Epic Photos at Tiny Epic Photos on Instagram, and it's basically, in Tiny Epic Photos' original caption, he puts that he wanted to create an alien-like scene within Star Wars, and he did it perfectly. So what we see is General Grievous hanging from the ceiling of either a Star Destroyer or some other vent-laden place. And he's got both of his sabers stabbing into the chest of a clone
that's
trooper
Wolf.
and lifting him off the ground.
That's fucking Wolf,
man.
Oh
yeah, I see the helmet now. Yeah, that's. So it is. It's like a perfect Star Wars representation of the alien scene from from the movies where the alien comes down and fucking gets a kill there. Except this time the alien is General Grievous. Beautiful work. I always love when people get really good bokeh coming from lightsabers, like the sparks and stuff coming off of it, because it does it just sells.
Oh, dude, that's all post too. He's added all that extra effect to the sabers to make them pop like that. I do like that. Obviously, I don't have the skills to do that. It's too much reading and Photoshop bullshit. But this shot, to me, I love the lighting. I like how it's an overall darkly lit shot, but you have those kind of the greens and blues pop in there to highlight the subjects. The posing obviously is very well done. Grievous hanging from his feet, doing the double stab. I mean, you could almost see the maneuver, like him flipping himself down and just jabbing right into Wolf. And then as he's raising himself up, he's carrying the carcass with him before those blades rip fully through and tear the poor clone in half. Yeah. Dan just he to me, he's one of the best toy photography lighting guys out there. He also usually comes up with really great ideas for shots, something that I've just given up on in life. I'm never going to have a great idea like this for a shot, nor could I execute it without wanting to punch a hole in the wall. So I just, I'm getting used to just looking at those of you with imaginations and the ability to do this without stabbing knives and screaming and tweaking your nipples. I try to appreciate your efforts these days.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you could pull this off one day, Matt, if you just zenned yourself out. If you found your inner Jedi, I think you'd be able to figure.
And then I would send it to someone like 1/6 Black Series or Tiny Epic to do all the Photoshop stuff.
Yeah, that's what you need.
I'm telling you right now. I mean, I love
Photoshop. Matt's going to send you all of his.
Right, I'll give you practice. I'll give you plenty of practice. But in all seriousness, I do prefer trying to get as much in camera as possible, because it does make the post aspect of this hobby a lot easier. And I'll be 100% honest. The reason I don't attempt a lot of more dynamic shots with crazy posing, wires, figure stands, this, that, and the other thing, is because I don't want to deal with the post bullshit. Mm-hmm. I don't want to try to wipe a figure stand. In fact, 1/6, while you're on here, I saw a shot of yours. I think it was with the Marvel figures, the Hellfire Club. You had 6 or 7 figures on those clear plastic stands that, in my opinion, are bulky as shit. They take up a lot of the, in-frame action, and to me would require some pretty serious post-processing wiping going on. How are you doing that? Are you taking a shot of the scene before you place all the stands so you can just kind of layer them and then wipe that shit out? Or are you just trying to erase it with, the healing tool? It's that's that type of shit, those type of operations, Nick, just give me agita. I'm like, I don't want to I'll just shoot my dumbass portrait. Then I know all I have to do is tweak some light, maybe crop it, maybe add some clarity, and here we go. I mean, if I'm not adding a lightsaber effect, the most I do in post now is tweak brightness, some contrast, some clarity, might add some soft proofing, and might tweak the white balance a bit. That's it. I don't want to fuck with that stuff. So I'm assuming it looks like, Trevor said that, they're pretty bulky, but I had them out of the frame, so he just had to really wipe the arm parts. The stands, they give me the heebie-jeebies. It's like, because Nick, you could have a fantastic shot, and you got the figure, he's laying in one of those clear stands, and then you go to process it, and you're like, well, fuck, how am I going to get rid of that without making it look like I just wiped something out of the shot?
Yeah.
So there you go. There's a slight tangent, a slight woe is me moment from Matt. I've been trying not to do those as much. But yeah, I mean, Tiny Epic Photos, just to me, one of the more brilliant and imaginative toy photographers out there that also has the skills in camera, setup, and post to pull them off.
Yeah, 100%. So at Tiny Epic Photos on Instagram, well done. Very visceral, Grievous shot. All right, next up, we have the Corel Pulse here, and he's got a really cool representation of something we might see in season 2 of The Mandalorian. So what we see is Mando himself, Din Djarin. This is non-full Beskar Mando, standing right next to, in a battle pose, right next to Ahsoka Tano, who's also in a battle pose. This is Rebels Ahsoka with her white lightsabers. And then you also see little baby Yoda standing between them, kind of like with his hands out, ready to use the Force. And it's a really cool scene. So it's nighttime. You see lightning striking in the background. You see a dead trooper there behind the primary figures in there. It almost looks like they're either on Navarro. They're probably on Navarro, given what we're seeing here in terms of the scene. So I just thought it was a really cool kind of trio, an epic trio pick here.
Yeah, I remember this because I like the Coral Pulse. I think it's an account that's just been fucked by IG in terms of how it gets limited in terms of just the exposure shots get. But I remember seeing this shot because Coral Pulse, for the most part, is doing really nicely lit close-ups, portraits for that, for the most part. So when I saw this, I was like, hey, man, getting into a scene. And then I read it, it's like, I mean, this is a full-on composite shot, Nick. So the background's all fake. I think the whole background's fake. Some of the foreground stuff's fake. Obviously, what they're standing on is real. But this is one of those shots where you layer in digital assets to create the final shot. So I thought that was pretty interesting because to me, I've always felt like Coral, for the most part, is capturing everything in frame outside of tweaking some effects in post.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. I mean, it just captures those characters so well. So beautiful job.
Hey, look who
here.
showed up, Bossajan. The time change boy is back. Better late than never, assholes. We love you too.
Yeah, I guess so. Better late than never.
All right, up next, and he just joined the live stream. That's Broken Artist. He just came in. Perfect timing, Broken Artist, because we've been flapping our gums for over 3 hours to get here.
Man. Yeah, I'm starting to feel it too. So this one here, the last of the top 5 for this week before we get into Matt's top 1, is from @BrokenArtist or @Broken_Artist98. Just joined in the live stream chat, like Matt said. And it is a absolutely fantastic black and white portrayal of the Mando, aka Din Djarin from The Mandalorian. This is non-full Beskar Mando. He's got his pulse rifle with him, and he's walking. He's hunting. It almost looks like he's hunting his mark. He's kind of walking through a field, has his gun drawn. You can see he's kind of looking off in the distance at either like up some sort of hill or at the peak of some sort of crested mountain up there. And he's also got his hand reaching back towards his pistol to draw. So I don't know if he's getting ready to get into a scrap, but I just like the way that Broken Artist kind of did a great black and white portrayal of this. It almost looks like, I don't know if he used it, like if he would have added like a tiny bit of film grain to this, it would almost sell it as like a fucking Kurosawa.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is like, the old school samurai films, or like if there was a World War II photographer out there capturing the Mando on a hunt. It is. I mean, black and white. It's hard. To me, it's a hard medium sometimes. It's also a medium that I've used it. I think saves a shot. Where I'll shoot a shot and I'm planning on presenting it in color. But for whatever reason, when I'm looking at it after the fact, I'm like, there's something missing here. But, you throw on that black and white and you're like, wow, now it looks artistic. But sometimes black and white can also make a shot look poopy. And that's not the case here with Broken Artist 98. It does, as Nick said, it gives it that vintage feel. that old school film grain, actual film, like a projector style a shot here, and
like a super old Western, like a black and white Western. You can kind of feel that type of vibe from this shot. So yeah, and like a lot of people would say, like, or a lot of people think that, like, well, black and white's not eye catching, and if you're scrolling through your feed and something black and white's just gonna pass right up. But like, I found this in the sea of everything that Matt shared this week.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You are right. I'll tell you. I mean, a shot like the one we just saw from Tiny Epic or even Coral Pulse. I mean, those colors, boom, they're gonna grab you right away. I mean. Black and white, on the other hand, it might not have that kind of like pop, like that jump grab, but it's more like, oh shit, this is some high art stuff, right? When you're flipping through, like, whoa, this isn't all like bright and vibrant looking. What's going on here? Oh, this is a piece of art. So I agree. It is. This is a perfect shot for the black and white effect.
Yeah, exactly. So at broken_artist98 on Instagram. Beautiful job here. I mean, I can literally almost see, like a Kurosawa, type of film being made around this character.
Yeah, you're waiting for some Ronin asshole to come by, and Mando just cuts him in half.
You get like the fucking, you get the screen with all the words on it because they're like speaking in Japanese, and you get the screen that translates it. It's like, okay,
I challenge you.
I'm into it.
I challenge you to a duel.
Yeah, I love it. So
good stuff there.
Well done. And it's now time for Matt's top one of the week. So Matt, take us away. Take us into the top
There we go.
zone.
Look at this shot. And it is from our friend at 16Shooter, one of the hosts of the 16 Pack. He also does some stuff over at the EM. I mean, 16Shooter, he's one of the lords of toy photography, the elder statesman, if you will. Not saying you're old, Trevor, but you've been at it for a long time. You've been producing badass looking shots for years and years. You've even gotten paid to do this shit. So yes, you are the elder statesman of toy photography. But what we're looking at here, it seems that Trevor has also gotten himself on Hasbro's good boy list. Because he didn't have to pay for the Heroes of Endor box like I showed at the beginning of this episode. He got it sent to him here, but it's a fantastic shot, and it's a very 16Shooter-esque shot. Mind you, these are all 1/12 scale, so this isn't his usual muse, but you can see he applies his usual quality to it. That background, Nick, that is a mix of fucking trees this guy has made and a digital screen. So
wait, like handmade trees?
Yes. That like over there on the left by that stormtrooper, that tree right there, that is something Trevor has produced. I don't know what he made it out of. Who knows? Wow. He's one of these people that can do the Dio stuff in addition to the lighting, the post-processing, the imaginative setups and the shoots. So he's got it all. But yeah, I mean, those trees are real. The ones way back there, those are our screen because he's got a big ass TV he uses. But it's really, I mean, it's a scene from the film, right? When they all get fucking bamboozled. They all get captured there as Han is trying to blow up the bunker. So it's like that, you're under arrest, that type of scene. Hands up. All the rebels have their hands up. The Han figure itself, as Trevor has been saying on Instagram and here in the live chat, is one of the best looking 1/12 scale Hans, if not the best. The face is just fantastic. The Leia looks good. The way he's got Chewie in there, but really I like the lighting. I like how you're kind of getting that sun coming in from the top right that hits on the back of Chewie's legs. It kind of accentuates a little bit of Han there. It's just an overall well done scene shot. That's what I'm calling it here. You got I mean, look, he's bringing in some, I don't know if those are fake or real ferns. I don't know if they're for fish tanks.
There's so many different layers to the shot. And it's like, if you're not looking for it, then you won't even realize it because it's composed so well. Like you said, the ferns in the foreground that are just like the tiny bit of blur in the foreground sells the depth of the shot to you immediately. And then the layers of people that are in the back, like you have your foreground figures, you even have midground figures, you have background figures. Like the composition and staging of the shot, I don't think could have been done better. Like it's just
I
so
mean,
well
if you
done.
look and he usually, Trevor 1/6 shooter, he usually does BTSs. I don't know if he's reeling it or TikToking or whatever the fuck we do these days to show behind the scenes, but he will give you a glimpse in how he builds out these sets, these shoots. And he's actually given us some deeper insights here in the live chat. Apparently he had to remove Chewie's arms to get him to pose that way, which I can see now. And even just thinking about getting Han and Leia's up there, that might have required a little bit of work because, you know, Nick, we always see these finished shots with the posing done. And without you doing the hobby yourself, I don't think you can truly understand how fickle these little plastic fuckers are. Like, they just do not want to do what you're trying to get them to do with your meatball hands. A lot of times it's just a limitation of the plastic, the joints, this, that, and the other thing. So it's just a great scene. I mean, it's what I wish I could do in terms of just taking the fucking time, charting out an idea, laying out the diorama. Because these days, let's be real. I mean, portrait shots can look great. They can catch people's eyes. But when it comes down to it, if you truly want to be a next level toy photographer, like getting to the 10,000+ followers and this, that, and the other thing, you've got to be able to sit down, come up with an idea, come up with a set. I really think that's what sets someone like me or someone like 1/6 shooter apart from someone like me. It's just the fact that he can sit there and build a fucking set. He can build Endor in his shooting space and then place these figures in it to really bring up that level of authenticity. So I don't know, one of these days, maybe when the kid gets older, and I'm starting to see it now, people. I get it. She'll be 5 in April. I'm already starting to see how daddy's just the male shithead, like, do this for me. I'm the butler, essentially. I'll probably be finding myself having a lot of daddy alone time in the next few years. So maybe if I am still doing the hobby, I'll try to take some cues from the likes of 1/6, Jason B. Michael, Work More or Less, Nose Rain. I mean, the people that just fucking have to spend hours on the dio before they even do the shoot.
The next time that the world is normal again and there's a proper celebration, and you know, either you're out there and some of the other, like you need to hook up. Like Trevor was there last time we were there, and you just like, we popped by, or you popped by at the bar and said hi to him. You guys need to link up at Celebration, do a setup, do a couple setups, and do like a combo.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah.
Shot.
Dude, if I had 1/6 shooter build my dioramas, hell yeah, I would probably produce some decent shots at that point. I would love for Trevor to build me out some dios. To me, that's like one of the biggest mind fucks. It is. It's just what is an idea for a cool looking shot? Because at this point, my brain is stuck in static gear. Throw the figure down, try to give it some sort of pose so it looks like it's not just standing straight up and down like a mannequin, and take the shot. But it is what it is. Like I said, I'm trying to just get back to enjoying this fucking hobby and not hating it and lamenting it so much. So last week, Wednesday, I worked out late. I rolled out of my home gym. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to grab that Mendo. I'm going to go outside. No lights, no fucking loom cubes, none of that dumb shit. I'm going to bring some atmosphere aerosol. I'll bring my my drain gun, and I'm just going to throw the fuckers out in my backyard on the dirt and see what we get. That's what I like. You know what I mean? That I can almost get to that. But I still, even today, I'm looking at all the new shit I just showed at the beginning of the episode. I'm like, well, how can I use my Heroes of Endor now, make them look neat and not just fucking portraits? I want to be 1/6 shooter. But anyways, I don't want to take up any more of Trevor's ball licking here. I mean, the guy's a pro. Just go check it out at 1/6_shooter. If you're in this scene, you know who he is. I highly doubt anyone in toy photography for any amount of time has not come across the 1/6. All right.
Good stuff.
Here we go.
That's the end of the top 1 and the top 5. and the show. This was a 3+ hour long
This is a new
banger for you
record. This is
people.
let me pull up OBS.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
pretty sure this is a new record or right under our record. So
This is like 3 hours and 10 minutes, 3 hours and 12 minutes, something like that. So
I'm pretty sure
thank you.
I have wet myself at this point in time. I can no longer even feel my penis. I have to pee so bad it's just gone numb. I don't know if that's a good thing or if I'm going to have to chop it off here, but let's put this show to bed, dude. Let's put this episode to bed. All right. Here we go, my friends. We're not going to be shimmying and shaking for too long because I am going... Or I'm not going. I am delirious at this point in time. Talking for 3+ hours straight with no script, nothing, just pulling stuff out of our collective Star Wars fanboy assholes is enough to put me to bed. So thank you. We speak all your names, but we need you to speak our name more. And you can do that by going to StarWarsTime.net. That's right. We couldn't get .com because we're losers, but you know that. So once you're at StarWarsTime.net, check out some of the content. We're not just a feature account, all right, people? I know our IG looks like that because my dumbass puts up 12 shots a day, 7 days a week. So there's lots of fucking awesome toy photography and Star Wars art, but we also produce content. I just did a video on the Mandalorian TV spot today. What is that egg canister all about? Does it mean something? Or is it, as Nick said, just Baby Yoda's portable gumball machine? We don't know, but that's the type of content you can expect from the team at the Star Wars Time Show. So we're not just pretty faces talking on the mics. We'll also do some YouTube shit. No one just cares to watch it, but that's fine. This week, we'll have a comic book video for you on YouTube. So while you're at StarWarsTime.net, see, I told you, the wheels are off, my friends. I'm trying. So while you're on StarWarsTime.net, while you're subscribing to the podcast platform of your choice on that site, you can also scroll down on the right side and get subbed to our YouTube channel. And once you're there, make sure to sign up for notifications so you know when our dumbasses go live, because we're never going to give you a clear date and time. It's usually on Tuesdays. It's usually in between 2 and 3 Eastern. We don't really ever know. It goes up and down, but that's how we roll over here. There is no planning. There is really nothing over here. We don't do anything on purpose. Everything is on accident. And once you are subbed up, we would love for you to leave a rating and review, or if you're on YouTube, please like this video as you're watching it, comment. All this type of stuff works to please the search engine optimization gods. That's what we need at this point, more so than anything else. We're not going to ask for handouts, but we will ask for foot soldiers. People like Lima 4 out there recruiting. People like Baron's Black Series out there recruiting. Greggy Boy, keep it up. That has been the best type of growth for us. Look at that we read that question from Anthony this week, who said he learned from the show from Action Figure Noob. This is the dumb shit I keep pleading for. Keep that word of mouth stuff going. All right? Because otherwise, no one's going to know about our little asses. Numbers are a little off this month. So yeah, I am feeling a little sad. You got to remember, I am a Star Wars fan, podcaster, narcissist. I feel everyone should love us. Everyone should hate us. And everyone should listen to us. But if we don't hit our 2,000 this month, you better watch the fuck out. November is going to be ugly, as in I'm going to be delivering all of the podcasts through my bunghole Ace Ventura style. All right? So make sure to subscribe to our X-rated YouTube channel for that nonsense. And in the end, there's always time for Star Wars time, so you have no excuses. There truly is always time for Star Wars time. And remember, if you do listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you always.